Chapter 412. One day later, Hinata gave the notes he prepared in advance to Orochimaru and urged Orochimaru to do the experiment as soon as possible, while he waited for Orochimaru's experiment to be successful. Although Hinata didn't believe in Orochimaru's character, he believed in his own eyes. 24 hours a day, Hinata would check the progress of Orochimaru's experiment through the satellite every once in a while. Maybe because of his conscience, Orochimaru didn't play any tricks. Every day, he did the experiment honestly. Even his trusted aide, Apothecary's Pocket, was sent away by Orochimaru. There was no need to talk about the specific experiment process. Anyway, Hinata didn't know anything. All the dirty work was done by Orochimaru, and it had nothing to do with Hinata. Orochimaru was worthy of being an expert in biology. The progress of the experiment was very gratifying. In less than a week, there were preliminary results. Hinata only had 2 ways to deal with the snake meat, either with some herbs to make a medicinal diet, or soak it in wine. Anyway, it was related to eating. Orochimaru, on the other hand, had more tricks up his sleeve. For example, cell fusion, absorption of chakra, mixing snake meat into soldier food pills, or mixing it into medicine and injecting it into the human body. In just a week, Orochimaru only slept for a few hours a day, did hundreds of experiments, and made countless experimental reports with different physiques. For the first time, Hinata discovered that Orochimaru could absorb chakra's ninjutsu. This guy hid it deep enough. But thinking about it carefully, Orochimaru didn't seem to hide this ninjutsu. Maybe he disdained to use it. He remembered that during the Chunin exam, the guy called Red Copper Armor could absorb chakra's ninjutsu. It was said that Orochimaru planted a spy in Shinobu. Even his subordinates knew ninjutsu, so how could Orochimaru not know it? Speaking of which, many of Orochimaru's ninjutsu seem to be related to the Sharingan. For example, the Orochimaru style substitution jutsu is similar to Izanagi's ninjutsu. The ninjutsu that absorbs chakra is similar to Rinnegan's seal. The ninjutsu that Shinobu used during the Chunin exam is similar to Shinra Tensei's ninjutsu. Back to the main topic. Orochimaru had done hundreds of experiments. Although some of the experiments still needed some time to see the results, some of the results were already out. Directly fusing with the cells was indeed the most direct method. However, ordinary people simply could not withstand such a huge amount of energy. In the end, they would either be eroded by the energy in the snake meat or explode and die. After all, the snake meat contained the immortal technique chakra. Just the word immortal technique alone was enough to reject 99% of the people. Although it can be temporarily suppressed with drugs, just like fusing with Hashirama's cells, the final result is a dead end. Have you seen Sannin Kabuto's arm? The result of rashly fusing with Akame's cells is probably like that. The whole body will turn into snake skin, and then lose its life. Fortunately, Hinata handed over this matter to Orochimaru. If Hinata directly used the snake gall to make wine, I'm afraid it would harm the entire Hyuga clan. To be honest, Akame's snake meat is not worse than Senju Hashirama's Sannin body. Not to mention the huge vitality, but it also contains the immortal technique chakra. Orochimaru has been experimenting with Hashirama's cells for decades, but he never thought of eating the problem. The foodie Hinata did provide Orochimaru with a new idea. For example, cooking and eating. Cooked snake meat will lose a lot of vitality, or it will lose its vitality. However, cooked snake meat was rich in nutrients and was more than 100 times better than ordinary animal meat. The vitality that has lost its vitality can be absorbed by the human body through the digestive system, but this process takes a long time to accumulate. According to Orochimaru's report, it takes at least several years of continuous eating of snake meat to make the body adapt to the immortal technique chakra. If it is supplemented with herbs, the effect of snake meat is even better. Although Akame's body is huge, it is not enough for the entire Hyuga clan to eat for a few years. Fortunately, Orochimaru has cloning technology, so he is qualified to be the supplier of Hyuga family meat products. In a few years, the Fourth Shinobi World War will be over. Hinata can afford to wait. After all, the evolution of the entire Hyuga clan can't be done overnight. As soon as he saw the results of the experiment, Hinata couldn't wait to contact Orochimaru. Uncle Snake, thank you for your hard work these days. Hinata seemed enthusiastic, but in fact he didn't have much sincerity. Without waiting for Orochimaru to answer, Hinata continued. If you use cloning technology to cultivate snake meat, how many pounds of snake meat can you provide per month? If you are short of money, you can tell me. Let's do business together. Our Hyuga family will definitely not treat you badly. Hinata's words revealed the wealth of the Hyuga family. But is Orochimaru the kind of person who is short of money? People who are short of money can't run a military base like the ninja village. Just the secret base built by Orochimaru in the entire ninja world. And the various experimental equipment in the base is a huge expense. Plus the annual experimental funds. The money spent by Orochimaru in a year may be more than what Hinata spends in a lifetime. Putting down the experimental report in his hand, Orochimaru said in a hoarse voice. This way of eating may be useful for ordinary people, but it has no effect on ninjas of your level. Hinata quickly explained. I intend to give it to the people in the Hyuga family. They are my direct descendants. Regardless of the feelings of the Hyuga branch family towards the main family, as long as the caged bird curse exists, Hinata can completely trust them. And everyone's surname is Hyuga. Even if some of the branch families are not brainwashed and still have resentment towards the main family, they will not betray the Hyuga surname. Today, Hinata has long since given up on the idea of removing the caged bird. Although freedom is precious, once the method of fusion with the Byakugan to evolve the Tenseigan is exposed, I'm afraid that the Hyuga family will immediately kill each other. The caged bird should be kept. After all, it is the wisdom of the ancestors, and at the same time, it can also prevent other forces in the ninja world from having ideas about the Byakugan. Without the caged bird, I'm afraid that Orochimaru would have already started hunting the Hyuga family ninjas. So that's how it is. Orochimaru understood in his heart. Hinata's ambition is really big. If the overall strength of the Hyuga clan is further improved, the small shinobu can't satisfy the ambition of the Hyuga clan. Imagine, the Hyuga clan has nearly 1,000 clansmen and hundreds of ninjas. If these hundreds of ninjas all have a huge amount of chakra and can use Sage Mode, what will Naruto do? When the time comes, as long as Hinata wants to do something, no one in the ninja world can stop Hinata. However, Orochimaru can't wait for such a long time. It's not that Orochimaru is eager for quick success, but the situation of the ninja world can't allow Orochimaru to continue to wait. The plan of the organizations will soon start, and Black Zetsu and Hinata's plan is based on the plan of the organizations. Orochimaru is a very important part of the plan. Whether he is a chess piece or an abandoned piece depends on whether Orochimaru's strength is still useful. Chapter 413. It's not that Orochimaru belittled himself, but he was very self-aware. The Edo Tensei seems to be very powerful, and the potential is strong enough, but Orochimaru needs to improve his own strength in order to control it. And even if you dig all over the ninja world, Orochimaru's strongest card is only Hashirama. If he wants to get benefits in the future plan, his own strength is crucial. However, at present, Orochimaru has a way to improve his strength. In addition to fusing with Hashirama cells, there is only Akatsuki's snake meat. It's okay to provide snake meat to the Hyuga clan. Orochimaru's heart moved slightly, and he said in a vague tone, "Money is not important for ninjas. You should know what I really want." Of course, Hinata knows. What Orochimaru wants is the eyes. An ordinary Byakugan is not enough. What Orochimaru wants is a body with the blood of the Hyuga family and Byakugan. Orochi-san, Hinata persuaded. In fact, you are going the wrong way by focusing all your energy on Kekkai Genkai. Although Dojutsu is powerful, it may not be better than some forbidden techniques. Look at Inoki of the Rock Village, his dust release is very powerful. Instead of focusing on Dojutsu, you might as well study a few forbidden techniques. Hinata's words are not to fool Orochimaru. The only advantage of Dojutsu is that there is no need to practice it. As long as you open your eyes, you can naturally master the Dojutsu. But if you analyze it from the perspective of power, forbidden techniques are not inferior to Dojutsu. Orochimaru himself is a super genius in Jutsu. Instead of pursuing the eyes, it is better to calm down and develop a few forbidden techniques. In addition to Jutsu, The only power of a ninja is the essence of chakra. As long as you master the Senjutsu chakra, with Orochi-san's current strength, it is estimated that he will soon reach my current level. Although the constitution of Kekkei Genkai is special, it is just the 5 elements release and yin-yang release. Special constitution is just reaching a certain level in advance. Orochimaru heard this and said, I used to be as naive as you, but many things in this world can't be achieved by hard work. Sharingan Genjutsu may be able to reach the same level, or even surpass the power of Sharingan. But how many people in this world can do it? In terms of talent, Orochimaru to be proud to be able to reach the level of to reach the level. However, Uchiha Itachi's starting point is much higher than Oshima Orochimaru. Every evolution of his eyes represents the improvement of his strength. After all, to see jutsu to Tamaru. And he is to say he is faster than him is to be is to him. He is to find is to reach to be to be. Can this game still be played? In fact, Hinata can understand Orochimaru's mentality. After all, not everyone is like Shaoli. They don't have such tenacious willpower. After watching the ending of Naruto Ninja, he can understand that even if he works hard for a lifetime, he won't be able to surpass the bloodline. Sigh. Hinata sighed sadly. Orochimaru's heart is higher than the sky, but his life is more fragile than paper. Hinata doesn't know how to comfort him. It's reasonable to say that Orochimaru was already several times stronger than ordinary ninjas, since he had the Ryuchi Cave summon scroll as a cheat. If Orochimaru moves forward steadily, and uses scientific methods to improve his strength, Hinata thinks that Orochimaru may be able to reach the level of the Sage of the Six Paths. Perhaps the road is very long, but there is hope. However, Orochimaru was eyeing the Sharingan, and wanted to use it to improve his strength. In Hinata's view, this was completely wrong. It's just that as a cheat, Hinata is really in no position to comfort Orochimaru. After thinking about it, Hinata can only honestly say, Uncle Snake, as the heir of the Hyuga family, I certainly can't give you the Byakugan, but I can give you a Rinnegan. Uncle Snake, do you think this is a good deal? But I have a condition, that is, you must improve the cooking method of the snake meat as much as possible, and improve the efficiency of absorbing vitality until I am satisfied. Hinata suddenly thought of Urushi. Although Urushi is dead, and his vitality is gradually draining away, his eyes are still there. As long as they are installed, they can be used. Although Urushi's eyes are Byakugan, they can be turned into Rinnegan with the power of yin-yang release. It's just that too much of Urushi's power has been absorbed. 6 Tomo Rinnegan is out of the question, but ordinary Rinnegan is still possible. You still have Rinnegan in your hands? Orochimaru was really shocked. Hinata still has Rinnegan in his hands. Whose eyes are these? Hinata nodded slightly and said very honestly, these eyes are evolved from Byakugan, but if you want to open Rinnegan, you must use the power of yin-yang release to activate it. Speaking of this, Hinata scratched his head again and said with some embarrassment, Uncle Snake, to be honest, you shouldn't be able to do it. Orochimaru keenly captured 2 pieces of information. Byakugan can evolve into Rinnegan, and Rinnegan is related to yin-yang release. But even so, how many people could actually do it? Rinnegan is the product of yin-yang release to a certain extent, and it also has the power of the sacred tree. Thinking about it carefully, Orochimaru's energy on Sharingan, it's not unreasonable to want to take a shortcut. If he practices step by step, Orochimaru has reached the limit that ordinary ninja can reach. Orochimaru's face was gloomy and uncertain. Orochimaru is an obsessive-compulsive patient. If it's just for Sharingan, he has countless ways to get it. But Orochimaru doesn't want to be half-baked like Kakashi. He wants to be like Uchiha Madara, who can really exert the power of the eyes to the extreme. It's true that after installing Rinnegan, he can use the power of Rinnegan to suppress Hashirama's cells, so he can have both Rinnegan and Mokuton. But what Orochimaru wanted was perfection, not incongruous half-baked. And Hinata also said that the eyes are just Byakugan. If he wants to open Rinnegan, he must use the power of yin-yang release to activate it. But once Orochimaru misses this opportunity, it will be difficult to have a chance to touch this level of power again. Good. Then it's a deal. Orochimaru finally didn't refuse Hinata. That I can at least let Orochimaru read more secrets and touch a higher level of power. This is what Orochimaru is absolutely unwilling to give up. Good. Then I'll wait for your good news. After talking about the business, Hinata's heart was also happy. From today on, the Hyuga family can start the evolution of all members. Chapter 414. Inside the Ryuchi cave, there were several stone pillars that supported the top of the Ryuchi cave. On a huge stone chair, there was a slightly old white snake coiled around it. The snake had orange hair and yellow eyes, a green cat's eye stone on its chest, a purple ribbon as a forehead protector, a pipe in its mouth, a long body, and 2 golden rings on its tail. Above the stone chair was a huge statue of a dragon head with a scroll in its mouth with the words Ryuchi Cave written on it. Da-da-da. A series of footsteps resounded, and 3 human women slowly walked over. White Snake Sage's body slowly wriggled, and in an instant, she turned into an old woman with a very kind face. Tion Xian Shinji, Ishigashima Haim, and Natarazu Haim were the higher-ups of the Ryuchi Cave, and they were the trusted subordinates of White Snake Sage. They had the powerful Senjutsu chakra in their bodies. And in addition to managing the affairs of the Ryuchi Cave, they were also responsible for the selection of humans to enter the Ryuchi Cave. Without waiting for the 3 to speak, White Snake Sage's old voice sounded. I know everything. White Snake Sage. Tion Xian Shinji's face was filled with unwillingness, and her originally delicate face instantly became ferocious. Her gentle eyes turned into Orochimaru's snake eyes, sharp snake fangs, and a long dark green tongue sticking out of her mouth. White Snake Sage sighed slightly and said indifferently, Human affairs have nothing to do with us. You only need to guard the Ryuchi Cave. Ishigashima Haim said with dissatisfaction. But they have already reached their hands into the Ryuchi Cave, if we don't care. Cough cough cough. Without waiting for Ishigashima Haim to finish, White Snake Sage interrupted her with a few coughs. It's been 1,000 years. You were born later, and you don't know what happened at that time. Someone wants to release that person, and now the situation of the shinobi world is changing. If we intervene rashly, I'm afraid the Ryuchi Cave will fall into eternal damnation. Tion Xian Shinji frowned slightly and said with a proud tone. With the strength of the Ryuchi Cave, are we afraid of humans? Ishigashima Haim and Natarazu Haim also agreed. The position of the 3 holy lands in the shinobi world is transcendent. They control the natural energy and have been high and mighty for many years, overlooking all living beings in the shinobi world. Although humans are the protagonists of this world, Tion Xian Shinji has a lifespan of hundreds of years. Naturally, he wouldn't put a mere ninja in his eyes. The White Snake Celestial opened her eyes slightly, and her gaze slowly swept across the 3 people, snakes. Her calm voice carried a hint of irrefutable tone as she said, Don't interfere in the affairs of humans. As for Red Fang, I will seek justice for it in the future. Tion Xian Shinji and the other 2 snakes did not dare to refute. They lowered their heads and said, Yes. Go. The White Snake Immortals sounded a little tired. After experiencing the Kagaya period, and witnessing the development and changes of the shinobi world for thousands of years, Snake Sage naturally knew the power and potential of human beings. However, today's ninja world is more dangerous than 1,000 years ago. Although Snake Sage doesn't go out, he still knows what has happened in the shinobi world in recent years. The 3 holy lands seem to be united, but from a species point of view, humans, frogs, slugs, and snakes are actually 4 completely different life forms. Although humans collectively refer to all creatures except themselves as animals, Snake Sage, as a snake, doesn't regard frogs and slugs as her own kind. Shikatsu Forest is weak, Mount Mayaboku yearns for peace, and Ryuchi Cave advocates strength. Compared to the other 2, Ryuchi Cave has the ambition to replace humans as the protagonists of the world. But due to the problem of population, they have to temporarily stay dormant. In fact, just by looking at the fact that Ryuchi Cave treats humans as food, it can be seen that they never put humans in their eyes. Child of the prophecy, the White Snake Immortal muttered to herself. Someone in the shinobi world has already reached out to the 3 holy lands. Obviously, the secret of natural energy has been exposed. If it was a few years ago, Snake Sage wouldn't have easily let this matter go. But now that the shinobi world is changing, if Ryuchi Cave rashly comes out, they will immediately become the target of all forces. Especially now that Otsutsuki Kagaya is about to be resurrected. The human civil war is inevitable, and the three holy lands are connected to human society in the form of a spiritual contract, so they will naturally choose their own side. After all, humans are a group, and the threat of human civil war is different from the threat of alien species. Since Orochimaru has chosen to betray us, it seems that we have to choose a new person to contract with. And Hinata. What is her origin? Hinata, who was far away in Shinobu, naturally didn't know about Ryuchi Cave's matter. Hinata was in a very good mood recently. After confirming the cooperation with Orochimaru, Hinata went into space that night and took back Urushi's eye. It's just that Orochimaru still needs further experiments, so Hinata didn't make a deal with Orochimaru for the time being. Nara family. Hinata and Shikamaru sat on both sides of the table. There was a go board on the table, and the two sides were locked in a game of chess. Although Shikamaru is a genius with an IQ of more than 200, and his level of playing Go is superb, but he can't stand Hinata's shamelessness and regret. So far, he has lost 3 games to Hinata in a row. Seeing that Shikamaru was about to eat another piece, Hinata immediately stopped. Hey, I just made a wrong move, it doesn't count. After regretting his move, Hinata scratched his head, and thought for a long time before he changed his move. Shikamaru's face was full of helplessness. He rubbed his red and swollen face, and his aching stomach, gritted his teeth and accepted Hinata's shameless move. There was no other way, either he was beaten or he accepted. Hinata didn't give Shikamaru a third choice. By the way, you didn't call me here today just to play Go, right? After beating Shikamaru again, Hinata didn't want to play anymore. It's too easy to win, it's boring. Shikamaru sighed with a bitter face. Naruto, Sama asked me to be in charge of this joint Chunin exam. After all, I have to contact the Sand Village, and I don't know much about them. Hinata understood. Hinata has been to the Sand Village twice, and he also has contact with the Sand Village's high-level officials. Shikamaru came to ask for information. My love is quite easy to talk to, but after all he's still young, and there are many high-level officials in the Sand Village. Moreover, this joint Chunin exam is mainly about the Sand Village's reputation, and Shinobu can't steal their limelight. Shikamaru heard this and felt even more uncomfortable. It's because of this that I don't know what to do, Shikamaru said weakly. We can't steal the Sand's limelight, and we can't let Shinobu lose face. The risk is too big, and it's not something we can control. If it's not handled well, I will have to take responsibility as the person in charge. In the end, Shikamaru looked at the blue sky outside with a bitter face. He really wanted to be free like the clouds. Chapter 415. Hinata recalled the experience of going to the Sand Village twice, and briefly introduced the situation there. By the way, you can ask Uncle Shikaku about this kind of thing. Shikamaru said helplessly. If Dad is willing to take care of me, I don't have to worry about it. Hinata looked at Shikamaru a few times. Although this guy looks a bit lazy, he is a person with shoulders and is willing to take responsibility. Shikamaru was given tasks by the village, and Shikamaru did his best to do it. Shikamaru himself is a very responsible person. Tsunade and Shisa Nara seem to be interested in training Shikamaru, so they handed over the joint Chunin exam to Shikamaru. Speaking of which, now that the balance of the ninja world has been broken, Shinobu doesn't care about the ranking of the joint Chunin exam. As long as Hinata is still in Shinobu, the other 4 villages can't and dare not interfere with Shinobu's interests. If Hinata can think of this, Shikamaru can naturally think of it too. Shikamaru is still young, and doesn't want to see a stain on his ninja resume. At the same time, Shikamaru is driven by his sense of responsibility. Hinata retracted his gaze and said faintly, You have really matured a lot in the past 2 years. Shikamaru's face was full of sadness. I would rather be a child forever. It doesn't feel good to grow up. Hinata rolled his eyes. He is only 14 years old, and Shikamaru is like an old man lamenting the passing of youth. If you and Shaoli can complement each other, I think it is quite good. Shikamaru lay on the floor with his hands behind his head, staring blankly at the ceiling, and asked inadvertently, "What about you? What have you been busy with recently?" Although Hinata spent most of his time at home studying ninjutsu in the past few months, he would occasionally get together with his peers. Although the friendship between the cockroaches had not dissipated, perhaps Hinata was too careless. With Shikamaru's sensitivity, he could naturally detect some slight differences. Hinata also put his hands behind his head and lay on the other side of the table. Just to study ninjutsu and learn how to deal with family affairs from father. Shikamaru could not deny this. 2 years ago, when Hinata and Shikamaru first cooperated to pursue Sasuke, Shikamaru sensed that Hinata seemed to have the intention of letting Sasuke go. At that time, it was not a good choice to take Sasuke back to the village. Shikamaru quickly put that matter aside. Until some time ago, Sasuke sneaked back to Shinobu and assassinated the village elder. Hinata was very suspicious at that time. After Shikamaru learned the news, he went to Hinata's residence to see Hinata's reaction. Even if it was later confirmed that the person who met Sasuke was not Hinata, but a mysterious person who mastered space-time ninjutsu, Shikamaru still felt that Hinata could not escape from this matter. After all, they were childhood friends. During the ninja school, Hinata, Shikamaru, and Choji played the best. Sasuke and Naruto had to stand aside. Although everyone would grow, there were different directions to their growth. Shikamaru was really worried that his childhood friends would go astray, and eventually the two would fight. "So it's like this." Shikamaru sighed and said with some yearning in his tone, "Now you are a strong person who is famous in the ninja world. Even the major ninja villages don't dare to provoke you easily. When we were in the ninja school, I thought you would become famous in the ninja world by eating." At that time, in addition to eating and playing, I was heartless all day long. Now that I think about it, I still miss it a little. I remember that Choji also asked you about the secret of eating without getting fat. You seem to have misunderstood that Choji was interested in you. Hinata. Even if we don't talk about the dark history, we are still good friends. Alas, we have all grown up. Hinata took a long breath. The feeling of growing up was really not good, especially when he was gradually drifting away from his childhood friends. Sometimes Hinata also felt lonely. Looking at Shikamaru with a complicated look, Hinata shook his head slightly. If there is anyone among his former friends who can walk together with Hinata, it is estimated that only Sasuke can do it. Not only the relationship of potential, but also the personal temperament. Although Hinata and Shikamaru, Choji, Ino, Sakura, Kiba, and Shino often see each other, they can feel that there is a huge gap between them. On the contrary, although he is far away from Sasuke, he can talk about his true thoughts without any taboo. Even if Sasuke now has other thoughts and has his own plans, Hinata can still feel that Sasuke is his real companion. Hinata is most afraid of this feeling. The reason why Hinata is reluctant to leave Shinobu is that there is a good friend like Shikamaru here. Hinata wants to ask Shikamaru, if one day I do something to hurt Shinobu, will you still see me as a friend? It's just that this question is really difficult to ask. Hinata and Shikamaru stopped talking, each thinking about their own things. After all, they have been friends for many years. Silence will not make each other feel awkward, but it is difficult to find the feeling of understanding. Hinata stretched, rubbed the flesh on his face, and relaxed his expression. Shikamaru, I should go back. Shikamaru struggled to get up and said weakly, I will send you off. At the door of Nara, Shikamaru looked at Hinata's back, and his heart was extremely complicated. Hinata, what are you thinking? Although Hinata hasn't done anything to hurt Shinobu so far, Shikamaru can feel that Hinata's heart is no longer with Shinobu. If it was the Hinata of the past, Shikamaru didn't think that Hinata would have any plans. After all, Hinata even gave up the position of Naruto, and Ino said more than once that Hinata is more lazy than Shikamaru. At least Shikamaru has a little ambition, but Hinata doesn't even have any ambition. She stays at home every day to enjoy the life of a young lady, and does almost nothing. But Shikamaru knows that Hinata is not doing nothing, but has been working hard. The direction of Hinata's efforts is to study ninjutsu. No one thirsts for power for no reason. Shikamaru also thirsts for power, But the reason why Shikamaru thirsts for power is to protect, but Hinata doesn't. Hinata used to find various reasons to be lazy, but now she doesn't need others to urge her, and she will work hard. Obviously, Hinata has an ideal that she must fulfill, but this ideal has nothing to do with Shinobu. Hinata's figure slowly disappeared at the end of the vision, and Shisanara appeared beside Shikamaru at some point. His eyes followed the direction of Shikamaru and looked into the distance. Patting Shikamaru's shoulder, Shisanara said lightly, "Everyone has their own choice. Although it's not wrong to worry about your partner, it's more important to trust your partner." Shikamaru looked up at Shisanara, and his tone was a little lost. "I know. But I always feel that the distance between Hinata and us is getting farther and farther." Shisanara was slightly surprised and said in an inexplicable tone, "Is that so?" Chapter 416. Looking at the complicated expression on Shikamaru's face, Shisanara thought. Today's Shinobu looked calm on the surface, but in fact it was very calm. Since the death of Danzo and the two Naruto advisors, there were almost no internal conflicts in Shinobu. Tsunade was a very generous Naruto, and his prestige in the village was very high. The Hyuga clan was also very well behaved, unlike the Uchiha clan in the past. In this situation, Shisanara naturally ignored the hidden dangers in Shinobu. Perhaps limited by the scope of the world, in Shisanara's view, since Hinata voluntarily gave up the position of Naruto, then the Hyuga clan was naturally no threat to Shinobu. To be fair, if Hinata succeeded Shinobu as the sixth Naruto, Shisanara would be willing to support it. Shisanara is also an elder who watched Hinata grow up, and Hinata and Shikamaru are good friends, so he knows Hinata's temperament. It's just that Shikamaru's worries are not unfounded. Shisanara knows his son very well, and he's not the kind of person who speaks without thinking. "Did you find anything?" Shisanara said lightly. "Now that Hayashi and I are Naruto's advisors, if there is no conclusive evidence, I'm in a difficult position." Shikamaru shook his head slightly. He can naturally understand Shisanara's difficulties. Shisanara and Hyogo are Naruto's advisors. If Shisanara rashly attacks, it's easy for others to misunderstand that he's fighting for power. Even if they send ninjas to keep an eye on Hinata, if they are discovered, it will cause internal division in the village. It's just a feeling. Hinata and Sasuke should be connected. Shikamaru said slowly. "After Sasuke assassinated Elder Danzo, I went to the Hyuga residence to look for Hinata." Hinata's reaction at that time. How should I put it? Although he was a little surprised, it wasn't the kind of surprise I had imagined. Hinata is a person who hates training very much. She often slacked off during her time in Ninja Academy, but in recent years, she has been working very hard, which is very abnormal. Shisanara frowned. Her strength. Hinata's current strength is already at the top of the shinobi world, and even the 5 great shinobi villages don't dare to provoke Hinata easily. Even the legendary leader of the Akatsuki, who has the Rinnegan, is only on par with Hinata. According to Hinata's character in the past, Hinata shouldn't be working hard at all. People who pursue strength must be ambitious, and Hinata voluntarily gave up the position of Naruto. Obviously, Hinata's ambition is not the position of Naruto, but a higher level of pursuit. As long as Hinata doesn't do anything to harm Shinobu, it has nothing to do with us. Shisanara patted Shikamaru's shoulder and said slowly, "I know you are worried about your companions, but Hinata is no longer on the same level as us." Shikamaru shook his head slightly and said with some worry, "I understand what you mean, but Shikamaru is not as optimistic as Shisanara. He knows his childhood playmate too well. It's just that the current information is limited, and it's difficult for Shikamaru to understand what Hinata wants to pursue." Shisanara pondered for a moment and said unintentionally, "In fact, Tsunade-sama also has this concern. Jiraiya-sama seems to have heard something from Mount Mayaboku." Shikamaru looked up at Shisanara with a slightly surprised expression. Shisanara smiled lightly and said, "This is not something we should worry about. Shikamaru, just do your own task well." Shikamaru nodded slightly. With his strength, it's impossible to investigate Hinata's matter, and it's better to leave this matter to Tsunade. Naruto Mansion. Tsunade stood quietly by the window, looking into the distance, in the direction of the Hyuga residence. Now that the 5 major ninja villages have reached an agreement, and the organizations are temporarily dormant, it's reasonable to say that there should be nothing to trouble Tsunade. But thinking of the information Jiraiya sent back some time ago, Tsunade suddenly realized the crisis hidden in the dark of the shinobi world. Since seeing the genjutsu left by Indra, Jiraiya has been investigating the secrets of the shinobi world for thousands of years while tracking down the organizations. Jiraiya once received Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan as his disciples, but Jiraiya didn't report this matter to Shinobu. When Jiraiya learned that the leader of the organizations has the Rinnegan, he naturally thought of the red-haired autistic boy many years ago, Nagato. Jiraiya is almost certain that the leader of the organizations is Nagato. However, as Jiraiya's investigation of the organizations gradually deepened, he found that the organizations are just organizations pushed to the surface by people in the dark who want to use the organizations to achieve their unspeakable purposes. Moreover, Jiraiya's years of experience as a ninja told him that all the information he investigated was secretly guided by someone. Obviously, the forces hidden behind the organizations have been divided into 2 factions, one of which wants to use Shinobu's hand to get rid of the other. This is Jiraiya's speculation, and Tsunade also agreed. If all the things are connected together, Tsunade found that the person who has been guiding him to investigate the secrets of thousands of years ago is Hinata. Although the war in the Land of Fire was finally proved to be caused by the ability of the Rinnegan, when the war broke out, it happened to be when Hinata was out on a mission. Tsunade still remembers the situation at that time. Hinata's movie has achieved a great response in the ninja world. Hinata's fans specially rushed to Shinobu and issued a specific mission to Hinata. Shortly after Hinata left the village, a war broke out in the Land of Fire. And last year, when Shinobu besieged Orochimaru, although it was confirmed that the organizations leaked the whereabouts of Orochimaru to Shinobu, but according to Kakashi's mission report, although Hinata's final retreat was to save people, Hinata has the ability to go back and fight with the Rinnegan after saving people. But Hinata gave up at that time. Sasuke sneaked into Shinobu to assassinate the mysterious person behind the assassination. But with the mysterious person's means, Sasuke didn't need to sneak into Shinobu to inquire about information. Before Sasuke assassinated Danzo, he sneaked into Shinobu alone and made a move to investigate information, and transferred a large number of Jonin and Anbu out of Shinobu. If the mysterious person who mastered the space-time ninjutsu is really Sasuke's helper, why would Sasuke take the risk to inquire about information? This is simply superfluous. A lot of things happened in the past 2 years faintly pointed to Hinata. Years of ninja experience told Tsunade that Hinata has a connection with the hidden people behind the ninja world. Thinking that Hinata doesn't even care about the position of Naruto, but has been concentrating on training. According to the information obtained by Tsunade, Hinata didn't help Hyogo to deal with the affairs of the Hyuga clan. Except for power, Hinata seems to be indifferent to everything. Is it for the mother of Hagoromo Sannin? Thinking of the content left by Indra and Genjutsu, Tsunade can only come to this conclusion. As a ninja of Shinobu, if there is anything more attractive than the position of Naruto, then it must be eternal life. Chapter 417. Outside the window of Naruto's office, 2 birds were chirping in the tree. Tsunade found it hard to believe that Hinata, who used to be as free and happy as a bird, was one of the people behind the conspiracy to subvert the shinobi world. Hinata has only been a ninja for about 2 years, but many things that happened in the past 2 years seem to have Hinata's shadow. It's just that Tsunade doesn't have any evidence yet, so everything is just a coincidence. Maybe someone is deliberately leading him on. Tsunade didn't want to doubt Hinata, because the Hinata she knew was just a little girl with a bad temper, greedy for food and sleep. It's hard for Tsunade to associate Hinata with the word ambitious. On Naruto's desk was the latest information from Jiraiya. Orochimaru's hands have recovered, and the Shiki seal is suspected to have been broken. Thinking of the information found from Danzo's route after his death, the Shinigami's mask was indeed lost. Danzo's organizations are deeply guarded against Orochimaru, So can the people hiding behind the organization reach out to Root? The ninjas of Root have been sealed by Danzo's seal, so they can't leak the secrets of Root. If there is someone in Shinobu who can inquire about Root's information, then this person can only be Hinata. Hinata's Byakugan can see through the bijou inside the body of a Jinchuriki. Hinata is a great suspect for the loss of the Shinigami's mask. Tsunade-sama. The door of Naruto's office was suddenly pushed open, and Jinin was sweating, holding a stack of documents in her hand. The information you are looking for is here, Tsunade said loudly. Put it on the desk. Yes. Tsunade withdrew her gaze from the window, turned around and walked quickly to the desk, picked up the folder with the word confidential written on it, and took out the documents inside. Hyuga clan. These documents were all information from the Warring States period. It was the information collected by the Senju clan over the years about the Hyuga clan. In the legend of the shinobi world, the Hyuga clan was passed down from the Six Paths Sannin, including the Hyuga clan itself. However, in Indra's genjutsu, the Six Paths Sennin's descendants should only be Azura and Indra. Tsunade's eyes were solemn, and she quickly browsed through all the documents. They're all useless. Tsunade's brows and said with a heavy tone. At this point, we can only rely on Jiraiya's. Shinobi, 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 shinobis, shinobis, shinobi, shinobi, shinobi. S. Not only the Byakugan's ability, but also the natural perception ability. Jinin pondered for a moment, and said hesitantly, Tsunade-sama, could it be that we're thinking too much? With my understanding of Hinata, she wouldn't. People change. Tsunade interrupted in a deep voice. Knowing those things, even Hinata may not be unmoved. Jinin frowned. Even if Hinata wants something, she may not do anything to hurt Shinobu. Tsunade was silent. Jinin's words may have some truth, but Tsunade is sitting in the position of Naruto, and has to think from the standpoint of the village and the shinobi world. Tsunade doesn't want to do anything to Hinata until there is clear evidence that Hinata is hurting Shinobu. But with Hinata's strength, once Hinata takes action, it may be too late. Tsunade suddenly understood the 3 generations' tolerance of Danzo. Although the Hyuga clan is not as ambitious as the Uchiha clan, Tsunade, as a Naruto bathed in sunlight, it is impossible for him to investigate his companions in the village for no reason. On the surface, the Hyuga clan is very peaceful, and Hinata also stays in the clan all day long. Even if many things faintly point to Hinata, Tsunade can't even send the Umbu to monitor the Hyuga clan without conclusive evidence. That is the Perception clan with the Byakugan. Once the Hyuga clan finds out that they are being monitored by the Umbu, I am afraid that the village will immediately be divided into 2 factions. And no one in Shinobu can stop Hinata from doing anything. Tsunade slowly shook his head and said with a complicated tone. Jinin, there are some things you still don't understand. If Hinata's purpose is really to resurrect that person, or to get something from that person, the Shinobi World War is inevitable. It is true that, as Jinin said, Hinata may not do anything to hurt Shinobu, but the purpose of the organizations is to collect bijou, and from the standpoint of the 5 great shinobi villages, the 5 great shinobi villages will never let the existing pattern of the shinobi world be broken. Why did the Cloud Village and the Rock Village target Shinobu before? Isn't it because Shinobu's strength has threatened the balance of the shinobi world? The 5 great shinobi villages have been high and mighty for many years. How can they be willing to see someone climb on top of the 5 great shinobi villages and give orders to the 5 great shinobi villages? Even if the organizations won't do anything to the 5 great shinobi villages after collecting bijou, the 5 great shinobi villages will definitely do something to the organizations. This is the desire and ambition of human beings. And this war will be called Maintaining Peace by the 5 great shinobi villages. Tsunade asked himself, if the 6 Paths Sannin suddenly resurrected and wanted to give orders to the 5 great shinobi villages, the 5 great shinobi villages may not be willing. The 5 Kages may even join forces to kill the 6 Paths Sannin. It doesn't matter if the 6 Paths Sannin is the founder of shinobi or not. The current era is the era of the shinobi villages, not the era of the 6 Paths Sannin. Jinin's face was complicated, and she said with some embarrassment, Tsunade-sama, what should we do now? Do you want to send someone to monitor Hinata? Tsunade slowly shook his head. Danzo's death was sudden, and before Danzo's death, he had been targeting the Hyuga family, and then he was killed by Sasuke. If Hinata is really related to Sasuke, once Hinata realizes that she is being monitored by the village, a fight is inevitable. From the looks of it, the mysterious person who saved Sasuke is more likely to help Hinata hide something. Jinin, if the person who helped Sasuke in the beginning is the mysterious person, then why didn't Sasuke go directly to Danzo, but sneak into Shinobu to investigate? After killing Danzo, Sasuke didn't move for a few hours. What was he doing during this time? Jinin's face changed slightly. Tsunade ignored Jinin's shock and continued. If Hinata found out that Danzo was secretly investigating the Hyuga clan, then she joined forces with Sasuke and borrowed Sasuke's power to kill Danzo. Sasuke first sneaked into Shinobu to cover for Hinata. After killing Danzo, the mysterious person either found Sasuke or Hinata, and they reached a secret agreement, so there were a few hours of blank time. Jinin's face changed greatly. Tsunade-sama, these are just guesses. Chapter 418. Of course, I also hope that these are just guesses. Because if these guesses are true, Shinobu and the Shinobu world will face an unprecedented crisis. Tsunade's voice was very tired. No one hoped that these were just speculations more than her, or that someone was deliberately framing her. Jinin looked at Tsunade with worried eyes. After returning to Shinobu for more than a year, although Tsunade has recovered and inherited the ideals of her lover and brother, she also carried heavy responsibilities, and is no longer as carefree and happy as before. Don't worry. Tsunade smiled and said loudly. The current situation has not reached the point of no return, and I will never let grandfather's ideals be ruined in my hands. Hyuga residence. After returning from Nara's house, Hinata slipped back to his bedroom. Although Hinata has always been too lazy to pay attention to these annoying things, he is not really ignorant. In his previous life, he lived in the 21st century with an information explosion, and even if he hasn't eaten pork, he has seen pigs run away. Shikamaru's thoughts can't be hidden from Hinata. It's just that some things can't be avoided, and if you want to get something, you must lose something else. For these things, Hinata has always liked to let nature take its course, and take one step at a time. If he thought too much, it would only make him carry more burdens and lead a more tiring life. What's more, in more than a year, everything will be settled. Gotcha. After installing the puppet mechanism, Hinata nodded with satisfaction. As long as the rules of making puppets are found, it is not difficult to make puppets. The spaceship seems complicated, but if it is made with puppet jutsu, it only needs to use repulsion, gravity, and the power device to eject chakra, and it is enough to make the spaceship fly in space. It's just the speed of flight. It's really hard to explain. If you want to travel in space, you must master the ability to move through space. And the spaceship is just a temporary resting place for Hinata. Activating the Tensigen, a spherical puppet slowly floated in mid-air. With the chakra at its tail, the spherical puppet slowly moved according to Hinata's will. That will do. In Hyogo's study, elder brother. Hyuga Hizashi looked at Hyogo with a worried expression and said in a dignified tone. Since the death of Danzo, although the village no longer targets our Hyuga family, I always have a faint feeling that the fifth generation's guard against us seems to be deeper. Hyuga Hizashi absolutely believes in his brother's wisdom and means, but he is worried that Hyogo will not be able to see the situation of the village in time, and bring the family into an unpredictable abyss. I know. After Hyogo brewed the tea, he poured a cup for himself and Hizashi and said in a calm tone, I called you here today to talk to you about this matter. Hizashi asked in a deep voice, Elder brother, how are you going to deal with it? Hyogo calmly took a sip of tea and said slowly, what I am going to say next will come out of my mouth and into your ears, no one else can know. Hizashi nodded and said, I understand. Hyogo closed his eyes slightly, then suddenly opened them. The originally pure white pupils turned into blue ripples. Different from the hazy feeling of the Byakugan, this kind of eyes is full of the contempt of a higher creature towards a lower creature, making Hizashi very uncomfortable. This is the Rinnegan. Hisashi naturally read the information about the Rinnegan, and the introduction of the Rinnegan in the information is exactly the same as Hyogo's eyes. Could it be that elder brother is the behind-the-scenes leader of the organizations? Hyogo. Hisashi was shocked. If Hyogo is the behind-the-scenes leader of the organizations, then Hyogo slowly said, the behind-the-scenes leader of the Akatsuki? This statement is not wrong. But I am not the behind-the-scenes leader of the organizations. That is another pair of Rinnegan. Hyogo felt that since Hinata has cooperated with the people behind the organizations, then as Hinata's father, it is not wrong to say that he is the behind-the-scenes leader of the organizations. Elder brother. What do you want to do? Hisashi's forehead was sweating, and his eyes were staring at Hyogo. It wasn't until today that Hyuga Hisashi suddenly realized that he had never really understood his elder brother. Thinking of the Hyuga Hayashi who used to be calm and composed, as if everything was under his control, Hisashi suddenly shuddered. Hyogo closed his eyes slightly, and the Rinnegan turned into the Byakugan again. What I want to do is to lead the Hyuga clan away from the ninja profession and live in this world in a new way. Ninja has always been a tool to kill people. Even the shinobu ninja is just a slave driven by money. As long as anyone pays, they can make the ninja work for them. Whether good or evil, whether right or wrong, no matter the reason. As long as those powerful people pay money, we will serve them, even if it costs us our lives. This village, from the bottom to Naruto, is bound by the word ninja, and is bound by the ninja regulations. But is this kind of life really fair to us? Hyogo was a little excited, but he quickly calmed down. A few days ago, Hinata told me that she has found a way to improve the strength of the entire Hyuga clan. Once this plan is launched, our Hyuga clan will completely get rid of the ninja destiny and become a real god clan. Hisashi, the attitude of the fifth Hokage-sama, is no longer important. I called you here today to discuss the future of the Hyuga family with you. Hisashi looked at Hyogo with shock in his eyes. If Hyogo's remarks today are publicized, the Hyuga family will definitely become the target of public criticism. When did the ninja's way of life begin? It doesn't matter now. But as Hyogo said, ninja is a tool driven by money. As long as anyone pays, they can make the ninja work for them. The education he received since childhood made Hisashi never consider this issue. Perhaps in the view of most ninjas, it's a matter of course to get a commission by performing tasks. It's like working, earning a salary through labor. This is the simplest truth. But many people seem to forget that ninjas have power. When the ninja regulations no longer bind ninjas, ninjas are the mainstream of the world, the power to control the world. Oni-ice and you, have you decided? Hisashi said with difficulty. You should know that once we make this decision, the future of the Hyuga family will be a fog. Now, even if the current life makes many people dissatisfied, at least safety can be guaranteed. What's more, the ninja rules are not wrong. Chapter 419. Ninjas earn commissions by performing tasks and are bound by ninja regulations, which is actually a manifestation of civilization. Whether it's power or power, once it loses the restraint of rules, it will cause unimaginable disasters to the world. This is also the main reason why Hinata, although yearning for Orochimaru's way of life, will not let himself become Orochimaru. If everyone is like Orochimaru, ignoring the rules and being unscrupulous, then how will the ordinary people in this world live? Only by being bound by rules can the world be truly stable. Moreover, earning commission through labor was the rule of civilized society. Only troubled times will breed bandits, but no one will like troubled times. Hyuga Hisashi knows very well that when a person's power reaches a certain level, they may question the ninja regulations. They think that since they already have such powerful power, even if they don't abide by the rules, what can they do? Maintaining the rules is based on force. When the force to maintain the rules can't restrain someone, then the only thing that can restrain this person's behavior is this person's heart. Hyuga Hisashi doesn't want his brother to become such a person. Hisashi, I know what you want to say. Hyogo put his hand on the teacup, and the tea rose. After a long time, there will be a burning feeling. This world is big. It's not just the world we see with our eyes. Do you know the origin of our Hyuga clan? The story probably started 1,000 years ago. Otsutsuki Kagaya's story is not long, and it can be understood in a few minutes. But this story of just a few minutes is enough to make Hyuga Hizashi doubt his life. Our Hyuga clan is actually an alien? Hyuga Hizashi couldn't believe it, but seeing Hyogo's calm eyes, Hyuga Hizashi knew that all this is true. Hinata and I actually have some conflicts on some ideas. Hyogo slowly said. Take the 9 bijou for example. Although the 9 bijou used to be the power of Otsutsuki Kagaya, now it belongs to the 5 great ninja villages. With the passage of time, everything in the past has become history. The land under our feet did not belong to us in the past, but now it belongs to Shinobu, to our Hyuga family. Hizashi nodded in agreement. Then Hinata. Hyogo sighed and continued to explain. Of course Hinata doesn't want to, because if he wants to take back the 9-tailed beasts, he must have a reasonable excuse. However, Hyogo smiled lightly. Perhaps at this moment, the 9-tailed beasts still belong to the 5 great shinobi villages, but it doesn't mean that they will still belong to them in the future. Hinata looked at Hyogo with a strange look in his eyes. Although Hyogo and Hinata have different views, their purpose is the same. Moreover, the word them also made Hyogo see the true thoughts in Hyogo's heart. He has already excluded himself from the 5 great shinobi villages. Brother said before that Hinata has found a way to improve the strength of the entire Hyuga clan? Hizashi asked. I don't know what this method is, Hyogo explained. The source of ninja's power is natural energy, which is a kind of power that can create the world. Perhaps from a certain point of view, the energy that maintains our life is natural energy, and the energy that maintains the operation of the world is also natural energy. As long as we find a way to use natural energy, we can further improve our strength and make life evolve. My eyes are the same. Although Hyogo doesn't know much about natural energy, he has summarized some of his own ideas from Hinata's introduction. Natural energy may be the energy that maintains the operation of the world. Have you heard of the 3 Holy Lands? The creatures in the 3 Holy Lands have mastered great power, and have a lifespan of thousands of years, by relying on natural energy. Hizashi, now you should understand why I have such an idea, right? Hizashi took a deep breath. Although it was only a few words, Hizashi also saw the future described by Hyogo. Great power and a long lifespan. This is the future of the Hyuga clan. Oniai-san, are you sure? Hizashi said in a deep voice. If we cooperate with the organizations, we don't have much time left. Hyogo said lightly. Cooperation with the organizations is another matter. It doesn't conflict with the plan of our Hyuga clan. It is more or less related. The Akatsuki's plan will start about a year or so. If the organizations win, the structure of the ninja world will be completely changed. If the 5 major ninja villages win, our Hyuga clan can still hibernate in Shinobu and wait for the opportunity. But after all, we are already involved with the Akatsuki. If we want the Hyuga clan to be in an invincible position, we need to plan well. Hizashi finally understood why Hyuga Hayashi called him over. The organizations and the 5 major ninja villages will eventually fight, and if the Hyuga family wants to be in an invincible position, and if they want to gain benefits from it, they can't do nothing. Hizashi asked vaguely, Oniai-san, the cooperation between the Hyuga family and the Akatsuki. Hyogo said lightly, the people on the surface of the organizations don't know about this, but the people behind the Akatsuki, if someone will betray us, it is probably only the bordered soil. Hizashi shook his head slightly and said in a somewhat inexplicable tone, Uchiha bordered soil. Alas! Who would have thought that the kid of the Uchiha family would become the behind-the-scenes leader of the Akatsuki? Hyogo continued. In our plan, the role of Otsutsuki Kagaya is very important. Without this person, our Hyuga clan may have to stay in the ninja world forever. But if we only rely on our strength to explore the universe, I'm afraid it will take hundreds of years. Hizashi understood what Hyogo meant. Although everyone is doing this for the future of the Hyuga clan, the future Hyuga family and the current Hyuga family are somewhat different. When eternal life is in front of everyone, no one wants to become a name in the history books. Hyuga Hizashi nodded. Oniai-san, I understand your plan with Hinata. If the plan succeeds and Otsutsuki Kagaya is successfully resurrected, then naturally everything will be good. What Oniai-san is worried about is that if the plan fails, how will the Hyuga family protect themselves? After a pause, Hisashi continued. In fact, the problem that Oniai-san is worried about, in my opinion, doesn't exist at all. As long as Oniai-san and Hinata are still alive, nothing will change about the Hyuga family. It's nothing more than a compromise after the failure, and whether our Hyuga family will continue to stay in Shinobu or not. The 5 major ninja villages have been fighting for many years, but isn't it a balanced situation now? Chapter 420. In the world of ninjas, the strong are respected. As long as the Hyuga clan continues to be strong, no one will dare to touch the Hyuga clan. Hyogo nodded slightly. It's not that he didn't understand what Hisashi said, it's just that as the patriarch of the Hyuga family, Hyogo is burdened with the rise and fall of the Hyuga clan. Facing an uncertain future, Hyogo's burden is too heavy. Hisashi continued to persuade. Brother, you might as well think about it. If Uchiha Madara didn't leave Shinobu, how could the Uchiha clan be destroyed? First Hokage always wanted to appease the Uchiha clan. If it weren't for Uchiha Madara's stubbornness, there wouldn't be a battle in the Valley of the End. Hyogo said lightly. Okay. After a pause, Hyogo continued. Hisashi, select a group of elites from the branch family in the next few days. When the matter with Hinata comes to an end, start with these people. Hisashi nodded. Yes. The so-called elite talents not only have outstanding strength, but also can't have the slightest resentment towards the main family. Although Hyogo Hisashi is also a branch family, he believes that his younger brother won't do anything to hurt the Hyuga family in such a big matter. Ideological education, also known as brainwashing, is the most important step for every force to cultivate talents. The Hyuga branch family's ninjas are brainwashed by the main family from an early age, and there are only a few who resent the main family. Even if it was Hyuga Niji in the original work, if Hyuga Hisashi didn't become Hyuga Hayashi's scapegoat, it is estimated that Niji would not resent the main family, and would even risk his life to protect the main family. Hisashi, this matter must be done secretly, and must not be known to outsiders. Hyogo reminded. After selecting the people, first prepare a list and give it to me. Yes. Brother. Father. Kneeling in front of Hyogo, Hinata's small face looked extremely serious. Taking out a scroll from the ninja tool bag and putting it on the floor, Hinata said seriously, "These are the first batch of secret medicines submitted by Orochimaru." After all, Orochimaru was not Hinata. It was impossible for him to cook snake meat into a delicious meal for Hinata. Orochimaru was a scientist, not a chef. Making snake soup was too embarrassing for a scientist. Because of this, Hinata almost fought with Orochimaru. The delicious snake soup was ruined by Orochimaru just like that. However, Orochimaru was worthy of being the technical support of the Naruto world. He used snake meat as the main ingredient, and with some other herbs as auxiliary ingredients, he made this kind of dark, mud-like pill. Hinata named this kind of pill body forging pill. The effect was good, but the taste was a little bad, and the taste was very bad. Hyogo opened the scroll, made a hand seal and shouted, "Open!" Boom. In a burst of smoke, 5 glass bottles appeared on the scroll, each bottle containing 20 pills, a total of 100 pills. Father, Orochimaru shouldn't be playing tricks, right? Now, except for some things that must be hidden, such as the little secret that Hinata is a transmigrator. Hinata has already told all his plans to Hyogo. Hyogo is the person Hinata trusts the most in the world, and many things need Hyogo's planning. After all, Hinata is not cut out for this kind of thing. Hyogo shook his head slightly and said indifferently, "Orochimaru shouldn't be playing tricks on this kind of thing. From what you said, Orochimaru should have some kind of request for you. And if I'm not wrong, Orochimaru should want to obtain power through you." Hinata's face was full of surprise. "Through me? But what can I give Orochimaru?" Hyogo calmly said, "Information." For people like Orochimaru, as long as there is enough information to support him, anything he does is not unexpected. Speaking of this, Hyogo changed the topic. "Hinata, What are the effects of these secret pills, and how do I take them? Hinata picked up a glass bottle and explained. Just eat it directly. But because everyone's physique is different, the interval between the 2 doses is also different. And after all, the red fang snake meat contains the sage technique chakra. And if you want to take this secret pill, you must at least have the strength of a jonin. Speaking of this, Hinata's small face wrinkled, and he felt that Orochimaru was doing this on purpose. This secret pill can improve physique. Not only can it improve physical fitness, but also increase the amount of chakra. If you take it for a long time, you will be more sensitive to natural energy. When your physique reaches a certain level, you can practice sage mode with my cooperation. As long as you master the sage technique chakra, I can leave a yin-yang seal in your body to store natural energy. Hyogo listened carefully to every word Hinata said, and when Hinata finished, Hyogo asked, according to what you said, the 9-tailed beasts were created by Hagoromo Sanin using yin-yang release and the chakra of the 10 tails. If our Hyuga family wants to do this, I'm afraid it will take decades or even hundreds of years, and it may not be possible. But from your judgment of the 3 holy lands, as long as the natural energy in the yin-yang seal reaches a certain level, it can prolong human life? In that case, why not put a yin-yang seal on all the Hyuga clansmen? Hinata scratched his head. Well, natural energy is still very dangerous. If you can't control it, it will be very dangerous to touch it rashly. Remember I told you about the curse seal on Sasuke's body? Master the sage mode first, and then put the yin-yang curse seal. I think it will be a little safer. In fact, not all creatures in the 3 holy lands can live forever, and many creatures can't even master the sage technique chakra in their lifetime. Hyogo agreed. You are right, no matter what, safety is the most important thing. Leave these secret medicines to me, Hyogo said. Last month, I asked Hizashi to select a group of elites from the branch family, plus some people from the main family. Let's start with these people. Speaking of this, Hyogo suddenly thought of something. Hinata, arrange for Orochimaru. I want to meet with him. Hinata blinked and looked at Hyogo in surprise. Huh? Father, why do you want to meet with Orochimaru? Hyogo looked outside through the window and said indifferently, we are in Shinobu, and it is not convenient for us to do many things. Cooperating with Orochimaru, some things are much more convenient. Hinata leaned in front of Hyogo and said in a strange tone, Father, you are so bad. Hyogo. Chapter 421. In Hinata's view, Hyogo and the 3 generations Naruto are the same kind of people. They wash themselves clean and leave all the dirty things to others. Especially since Hinata has already cooperated with Orochimaru once. He naturally thinks that he has seen through Hyogo's thoughts. Pushing his hand away from Hinata's face, Hyogo's face was full of disgust. You have grown up. Don't get so close. Ahem. With a light cough, Hyogo said. What Orochimaru wants is nothing more than a perfect body. Hinata quickly interrupted. Father, you don't want to give Orochimaru a child of the Hyuga family, do you? Hyogo glared at Hinata fiercely. How could I do such a thing? With a cold snort, Hyogo said in a bad tone. Even you know to protect the Hyuga clan. As the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, how can I hand over my clansmen? Hinata's face was strange. In the original work, Hyuga Hizashi was your scapegoat. Although the situation at that time was that Hyogo was knocked out, in Hinata's view, the truth at that time was just Hyogo's side of the story. Even the letter that Hyuga Hizashi left to Niji may be forged, or Hyuga Hizashi was forced to write it. Just imagine, if Hyuga Hizashi didn't leave that letter, and Niji was planted with the caged bird. If Niji resented the main family because of this, his life will not be easy. Before Hinata crossed over, he didn't doubt Hyogo. But now, for the sake of Hyogo's father, he won't doubt him for now. Hyogo ignored Hinata and continued. Orochimaru can be regarded as a talented person, and you gave him one of the Urushi's eyes. If Orochimaru sees this, speaking of this, Hyogo opened his Rinnegan. If Orochimaru sees my Rinnegan, he should know what to do. When it comes to understanding of Orochimaru, Hyogo is definitely not under Hinata. Hyogo is only 6 years younger than Orochimaru. The two can be regarded as ninjas of the same era. Hyogo has seen Orochimaru's most glorious period and how talented Orochimaru is. A Byakugan that can turn into a Rinnegan is enough for Orochimaru to study a lot of things. A perfect body may be very tempting, but Hinata is the only one in the Hyuga clan who can do it to the same extent as Hinata. My Rinnegan was opened under the influence of external forces. Compared to the bloodline of the Hyuga family, the Urushi's eye is more valuable. Hyogo said lightly. If Orochimaru wants to get 2 Byakugans then… Mist Village. Hinata exclaimed. Father, do you want to use Orochimaru to weaken the strength of the Mist Village? Hyogo said calmly. Yes. In our plan, the 5 great ninja villages will be our enemy. Instead of waiting for the war to start, it's better to weaken the power of the 5 great ninja villages in advance. And the eye has always been in the mist. Humph. Hinata was somewhat puzzled. But Orochimaru is more of a threat than the Mist Village. If Orochimaru gets 2 Byakugans and masters the secret of evolution, I'm afraid that Orochimaru will become more powerful. Hyogo didn't care and said, Orochimaru may become one of our people. What's more, doesn't your partner want to get rid of Orochimaru? A powerful Orochimaru is more valuable to get rid of. Hinata. You may not know, but Black Zetsu gave the task of getting rid of Orochimaru to your baby daughter. Hyogo wants to help Orochimaru improve his strength. The purpose is nothing more than balance. After all, no matter how you look at it, the current Hinata is not the opponent of Otsutsuki Kagaya. In contrast, although Orochimaru is extremely dangerous, he knows his roots. Hyogo is very clear about Orochimaru's ideals, but he knows nothing about Otsutsuki Kagaya. Hinata somewhat understood. Father, what you mean is that Orochimaru with 2 Byakugans may give up on reincarnating into another body, and we can use Orochimaru's power to fight against Otsutsuki Kagaya. Hyogo said. Not only that, but the power through fusion is not as good as the original power. According to what you said, bordered soil and Kakashi's eyes, it can be said that there is a difference between heaven and earth. Even if Orochimaru transplants the Byakugan, fuses with Hashirama's cells, and masters Sage Mode, he can't surpass you, who has the blood of the Hyuga family. Hinata nodded again and again. Then let's do as father said. I will arrange for Orochimaru. By the way, father, when can you leave Shinobu? Hyuga Hayashi said faintly. Next month. Next month, I'm going to visit an old friend in the Land of Fire, and I'll also meet Orochimaru. In fact, from Hinata's description of Orochimaru before, Hyogo discovered that Orochimaru actually has the idea of cooperating with the Hyuga family, but it's just that in the face of Hinata, Orochimaru can't make sense at all. Orochimaru wants to express it vaguely, but Hinata doesn't understand at all. But Hinata's age is there. Orochimaru can't put down his face and directly tell Hinata. Moreover, with Orochimaru, this kind of old fox, Hyogo can't trust Hinata. Father, how's your cultivation of Sage Mode going? Hinata asked. Hyogo slowly said. It's almost there, but it's almost there. Although there is no environment like the 3 Holy Lands, with Hinata's help to condense natural energy, Hyogo can naturally practice Sage Mode. Hinata looked at Hayashi coldly and thought to herself, maybe he's just too untalented? After reporting the recent events, Hinata left Hyogo's study. After cooperating with Orochimaru, the Hyuga family is also on the right track. For a long time, it will be difficult to improve the strength of the entire Hyuga clan. According to the agreement between Hinata and Orochimaru, Orochimaru will provide the Hyuga clan with 100 body forging pills every month, and Hinata only provides 1 eye of Urashi and the promise of sharing information in the future. 100 body forging pills every month is enough to improve the strength of 50 jonins in the Hyuga clan. In fact, the Hyuga clan doesn't really have 50 jonins, most of them are special jonins. But after a while, these selected clansmen will really have the strength of jonins, or even elite jonins. If Hyogo is more open-minded, and is willing to let these clansmen learn some gentle fist secret techniques, then these 50 people will be enough to improve the strength of Hyuga Hizashi. If they master the Sage Mode, 50 Kage-level experts will be trained. Chapter 422. As the patriarch of the Hyuga clan for decades, Hyogo knows what is the most important thing for a ninja clan. Powerful strength may make a clan the target of public criticism. Once powerful clans such as Senju and Uchiha have now become a name in history. On the contrary, small clans such as Sarutobi and Inoshikicho have gained a firm foothold in Shinobu. The rise of Hinata is both an opportunity for the Hyuga clan, but it is also a crisis. When Hinata is still alive, he can naturally protect the Hyuga clan. But if one day Hinata is gone, the fate of the Uchiha clan may be the reference of the Hyuga clan. This isn't a groundless worry. The major shinobi villages have been coveting the Byakugan for a long time, and Hinata's secret has made the entire shinobi world scramble for it. Hyogo has lamented Hinata's character more than once. Hinata's unruly character is the best protection for Hinata. This kind of protection can allow Hinata to grow up well. And the fact is, as Hyogo expected, when Hinata was still weak, whether it was the three generations or Danzo, they all had some intention to win over Hinata, instead of deliberately suppressing Hinata. The fifth Naruto Tsunade intended to cultivate Hinata to become the sixth Naruto. Now that Hinata has fully grown up, with Hinata's current strength, it is enough to protect the Hyuga clan for decades. If he didn't understand Hinata's plan, Hyogo may be worried about how the Hyuga clan will protect itself when Hinata is old and weak. But now Hyogo has higher ambitions. When Hinata first mentioned his plan, Hyogo's fear was far greater than his excitement. He didn't dare to bet the fate of the entire Hyuga clan on an uncertain future with Hinata. However, since the seed has been planted, sooner or later, it will take root and sprout. After learning so many ancient secrets, Hyogo can't control his thoughts at all. Whenever Hyogo is idle, he unconsciously recalls the secrets that Hinata said in his mind. At first, he may just think about it occasionally, but after thinking about it many times, Hyogo began to unconsciously perfect Hinata's plan. Until today, Hyogo has spared no effort to support Hinata. When you are strong but not strong enough, you can only rely on your own strength and make your strength a part of the strength's strength. When you are the strongest but not strong enough, you can only continue to improve your strength so that the people behind you can never catch up. The Hyuga clan used to be the former, so Hyogo chose to rely on the Naruto clan for self-protection. Today's Hyuga clan is the latter, so Hyogo can only continue to improve the strength of the Hyuga clan and turn their current strength into eternity. In the Hyuga family's conference room, Hyogo stood in front of the crowd, opposite to the 50 elite ninjas of the Hyuga clan. The Hyuga family, known as the strongest clan of Shinobu, has nearly 1,000 members and hundreds of registered ninjas, but there are less than 20 Jonin level ninjas. There are many special Jonin, but the gap between special Jonin and Jonin is still huge. The former is partial, while the latter is omnipotent. Today, I have summoned you to discuss a major event about the reform of the Hyuga family. Hyogo's face was serious as he looked around at the crowd. Unlike other ninja clans, perhaps because of the existence of the caged bird, Hyogo has absolute authority in the family, and the only ones who can form a balance against Hyogo are the elders of the Hyuga main family. However, as Hinata began to grow, Hyogo has gained absolute authority in the Hyuga clan because of his daughter. The branch family doesn't dare to resist the main family at all, and even the Jonin-level ninjas don't have much right to speak in front of Hyogo. This is a secret medicine that can improve physique and chakra. Hyogo took out the glass bottle containing the body-forging pill. Although Hinata has already named the pill, because the name body-forging pill is too shameful, Hinata buried the name in his heart. This secret medicine has no side effects, and the interval between two doses is different according to the individual's physique. Hyogo roughly explained the effect of the body-forging pill. Although taking this secret medicine can improve a ninja's strength, the fundamental purpose is to make a ninja's physique more suitable for natural energy, so that they can practice Sage Mode. With Hinata showing his power in the ninja world, Sage Mode is no longer a secret. It's just that the conditions for practicing Sage Mode are too harsh, and according to the existing information in the ninja world, Hinata is the only one who has mastered Sage Mode. The 50 elite ninjas of the Hyuga family have different expressions. Although being able to practice Sage Mode is something to be excited about, taking the secret medicine to improve one's strength doesn't seem to be very reliable. Although Hyogo keeps saying that this secret medicine has no side effects, if taking the secret medicine can improve one's strength, then what's the point of practicing hard? You are all elites of the Hyuga clan, and the future of the Hyuga clan is entrusted to you. Hyogo said in a dignified tone. Now our Hyuga clan is in the teeth of the storm, and the eyes of the entire ninja world are focused on us. If we are content with the status quo, sooner or later, we will face a disaster. For the future of the Hyuga family, please be sure to improve your strength as soon as possible and practice Sage Mode as soon as possible. Although everyone present is trustworthy, Hyogo didn't say Hinata's plan. After all, this plan is too scary. Even if these people can keep it a secret, it's hard to guarantee that they won't reveal any flaws in their daily lives. On the roof of the conference room, Hinata opened the Byakugan to ensure that no one is monitoring nearby. However, for a gathering like this, Shinobu's higher-ups must have already known the news. And maybe there are spies of Shinobu among the 50 selected people. The brainwashing of the Will of Fire is still very effective, and it's hard to guarantee that there won't be ninjas in the Hyuga family who regard the village as more important than the family. It's not a big deal if the gathering is held once or twice, but once it's held many times, it's hard to guarantee that Shinobu's higher-ups won't have any ideas. But after today, everyone has seen the effect of the body-forging pill, and the later body-forging pill can be secretly distributed. According to Orochimaru, an ordinary jonin has to take the body-forging pill for at least 2 years in a row to reach the level of practicing Sage Mode. But nothing is absolute. Just like Orochimaru and Jiraiya, Orochimaru has no fate with Sage Mode, but Jiraiya, who is at the bottom, can practice Sage Mode. Hinata intended to test them with her natural energy after a while to see if any of them were qualified to practice Senjutsu. Seeing that everyone has taken the body-forging pill, Hyogo is also ready to end the meeting. Hinata left in a flash and returned to his bedroom. Orochimaru's side has already been arranged. In a month, Hyogo will meet with Orochimaru outside the village to discuss the next cooperation. Hinata is too lazy to worry about this kind of thing anyway. With Hyogo in front of him, Hinata can enjoy the decadent life of a young lady with a clear conscience. Chapter 423. The situation in the shinobi world is always like a tree that wants to be quiet, but the wind doesn't stop. After a few months of peace, Hinata accidentally heard a piece of news. The Cloud Village intended to participate in the joint Chunin exam, held by the Sand Village in July. After several letters from the Reikage and the Kazakage, the Sand Village agreed to the Cloud Village's request. Although the joint Chunin exam is a rare event in the ninja world, it's just a Chunin exam. The ones who participate in the exam are just slightly outstanding genin, and it's not worth too much attention from the major villages. The Cloud Village's move was a bit unexpected. Shinobu and Sand Hideout are allies, so it's reasonable for the two countries to jointly hold the Chunin exam. But the Cloud, Rock, and Mist have always played their own games. When the Cloud Village held the Chunin exam, they never invited the surrounding small countries. Shinobu didn't know why the Sand Hideout agreed to the Cloud Village's request. But Shinobu already had some guesses about the Cloud Village's intentions. The Cloud Village has done this kind of thing before. After the Nine Tails incident, the Cloud Village sent a messenger to Shinobu. On the surface, it was to sign a peace agreement, but in fact it was the idea of the Hyuga family's Byakugan. After the 5 Kage conference, the Reikage sent a messenger to the Rock Village, and the two sides seemed to be very unhappy. Although Shinobu didn't have much information, the purpose of the Cloud Village couldn't be more obvious. The Cloud Village wants to collect 4 parts of the Edo Tensei. Now that Shinobu is strong, the Reikage didn't dare to have any ideas about Shinobu, so he naturally targeted the other 3 villages. Although the Cloud Village has bad intentions, the Sand Village is the organizer of the joint Chunin exam. Since the Sand Village has agreed, Shinobu naturally can't say anything. That's the situation. In the barbecue shop, Shikamaru leaned his cheek with one hand, looking bored. If we want to stop the Cloud Village's conspiracy, we must rely on the power of the Byakugan, Shikamaru said solemnly. Hinata rolled his eyes speechlessly. Find someone else. Why don't I introduce you to Takuma? He's a jonin from the Hyuga family. He's very strong. Shikamaru sighed with a sad face. He curled his lips and said with a look of disdain, Jonin, if the Cloud Village makes a move, I'm afraid it will be difficult to stop them by just relying on a Jonin. And once we start a war with the Cloud, I'm afraid that the Sand Village will hold us responsible, and maybe the Cloud will bite us. At this point, Shikamaru stared at Hinata with a pair of dead fish eyes. But you are different. Hinata, if you go, the Cloud Village will not dare to act rashly. Zzz. Hinata picked up the grilled meat and dipped it in the sauce, then put it into his mouth and started chewing. I don't want to eat sand in the sand-hidden village. Even if you treat me to barbecue, I won't go. The sand in the sky will affect the quality of my skin. Look at me. Hinata turned his face to let Shikamaru take a closer look at his white and delicate skin. Think about the hand bow. Our skin quality is not in the same dimension. Shikamaru put a bulging wallet on the table and said with a frank attitude, I'm the person in charge of the joint Chunin exam. If something goes wrong during the exam, I will take a lot of responsibility. Hinata, we grew up together. You won't just ignore me, right? Hinata, don't talk like we're childhood sweethearts. Shikamaru continued to tempt Kuroto. If you agree, you can eat anything you want in the sand-hidden village. Hinata rolled his eyes. This kind of small favor can't move Hinata at all. As the heir of the Hyuga main family, how can Hinata put the money for a few meals in his eyes? Having said that, Hinata's heart was still a little moved. It's not that Hinata has no backbone, it's just that the feeling of being treated is really cool, not just the feeling of enjoying food, but a sense of satisfaction from the soul. Actually, I don't think there's any loss even if the Cloud Hidden Village's conspiracy succeeds, right? Hinata asked puzzledly. As long as the Cloud Hidden Village acts, they will definitely offend the Sand Hidden Village. What does it have to do with our shinobu? The Edo Tensei is divided into 4 parts, and it's impossible for the Cloud Hidden Village to collect all of them. Shikamaru had a helpless look on his face as he said, Everyone knows this, but we have a common enemy right now. Once there is a crack in the relationship between the 5 great ninja villages, we may not be able to work together to deal with the organizations in the future. What Shikamaru is thinking is also what Shinobu is thinking. The 4th Raikage of the Cloud Hidden Village is like a naughty child. He wants to rob everything he sees. Before, the Cloud Hidden Village sent a messenger to the Rock Hidden Village, and the 2 sides were already very unhappy. Once the Cloud Hidden Village offends the Sand Hidden Village, the trust between the 5 great ninja villages will immediately disappear. And this matter is undoubtedly the most beneficial for the organizations. Yes, it's the most beneficial for the organizations. Hinata has already begun to plan how to let Black Zetsu secretly destroy the relationship between the 5 great ninja villages. Hey, you said so. Even if I don't want to go, I have to go. Hinata reached out and picked up Shikamaru's wallet. It's been almost 2 years since graduation. You don't have this much savings, do you? If you don't bring your bank book, I'm afraid you can't afford to raise me. Shikamaru. Although he was already prepared to be slaughtered by Hinata, when Hinata really agreed, Shikamaru still felt a burst of pain in his heart. My money. Looking carefully at Hinata, Shikamaru sharply said, Hinata, if anyone marries you, it's really bad luck. Hinata. Shikamaru, we haven't practiced together for a long time. Let's go to the back of the mountain. Shikamaru suddenly became energetic. He shook his head and said, Absolutely not. Okay. Hinata didn't insist. He glanced at Shikamaru and said lightly, If you don't want to go, then don't go, Shikamaru. After being bought by Shikamaru with a barbecue and a trip to the Land of Wind, Hinata reluctantly agreed to accompany Shikamaru to the Sand Village to preside over the joint Chunin exam. However, there are still a few months before the joint Chunin exam. There may be some changes. After beating Shikamaru fiercely in the back of Shinobu's mountain, Hinata secretly left a mark to meet Black Zetsu before leaving. A clone of White Zetsu stayed near Shinobu, and would come here to check every once in a while. With White Zetsu's speed underground, as long as Black Zetsu receives the message, he can arrive at Shinobu within a day. Hyogo's words are still very right. Since they are going to be enemies with the 5 great ninja villages, They should weaken the power of the 5 great ninja villages in advance. Chapter 424. He has been working with Hinata for more than a year, and for the first time, Black Zetsu felt that this might not be a good idea. Hinata, I'm very busy. Black Zetsu's tone was a little helpless. Hinata. I'm also very busy. I called you this time to discuss important matters together. It has been 4 days since Shikamaru invited them to eat barbecue, and Black Zetsu also received the news and secretly came to the back mountain of Shinobu to meet with Hinata. Seeing the serious look on Hinata's face, Black Zetsu secretly sighed and asked with a little doubt. Last time, when Shinobu and Kyumo clashed on the border, I asked you to secretly provoke the 5 great ninja villages to war. Didn't you refuse at that time? How come this time? Hinata snorted. Isn't the situation different this time? And I didn't figure it out at that time, but now I've figured it out. Well, let's do it. Black Zetsu said powerlessly. Hinata, the organizations have already entered full stealth. Once I rashly make a move, it will inevitably attract the attention of the ninja world to the organizations again. Moreover, provoking the relationship between the 5 great ninja villages won't help our plan. Hinata heard this and said, What do you mean? White Zetsu dragged his tone and said in a contemptuous tone, As long as the Jubi is resurrected, even if the 5 great ninja villages join forces, they won't be able to stop us. And once our plan is launched, when the 5 great ninja villages are faced with threats, no matter how many contradictions they have before, they will eventually unite together. Using the Edo Tensei to provoke the relationship between the 5 great ninja villages. Even if we succeed in causing the 5 great ninja villages to clash, at most, only a few jonin will die. Hinata finally understood. Humph. In the end, it's all Hyogo's fault. If it weren't for Hyogo saying that it was necessary to weaken the power of the 5 great ninja villages in advance, Hinata wouldn't do such a stupid thing. Hyogo's eyelids were too shallow. Turning his back to Black Zetsu, Hinata said in a flat tone, You can go. Black and White Zetsu were speechless. Black Zetsu didn't know why, but he knew that if he left now, something bad would happen. Since we've met, let's talk about the recent situation. Orochimaru seems to be in trouble, Black Jew said. That guy seems to be plotting something. We've lost track of him. Hinata turned and looked at Black Zetsu. Even White Zetsu can't find Orochimaru. White Zetsu explained. I am a ninja who is proficient in hiding ninjutsu. Perception is not my strength. Hinata blinked and asked curiously. White Zetsu, will you also admit that you are a ninja? Logically speaking, the term ninja didn't exist in the era you were born in, right? White Zetsu, can't you focus on the main point? This kind of sudden change in topic was completely unacceptable. If my guess is correct, Orochimaru should have obtained new information. Black Zetsu forcibly changed the topic. However, there shouldn't be many people in the ninja world who know the secrets of the Otsutsuki clan. But for Orochimaru, who has mastered the Edo Tensei, he can get information from the mouths of the dead. Hinata was surprised. Dead. In that case, the biggest use of the Edo Tensei is not to perish together with the enemy, but to learn ninjutsu from the dead. Black Zetsu looked at Hinata with some surprise. Hinata blinked with an ignorant look. If Hinata was a shrewd person, Black Zetsu would have suspected Hinata's intention to change the topic twice at this moment. However, when he thought of the stupid plan Hinata proposed before, Black Zetsu didn't have much hope for Hinata's IQ. Hinata is definitely not deliberately changing the topic, but he can't grasp the main point at all. In addition to the matter of Orochimaru, Bordered Soil has found Sasuke, and Sasuke has also joined us. Black Zetsu continued. However, Sasuke has a chakra that doesn't belong to him, and this power has suppressed the influence of Indra. Hinata was surprised. Chakra that doesn't belong to Sasuke? Black Zetsu's eyes were gloomy, and no one knew what he was thinking. White Zetsu's voice sounded. I have tested it with the spore technique, and that chakra is somewhat similar to the chakra of the sacred tree, but there are some differences. Sasuke's strength has grown so fast, it should be because of the influence of this chakra. Hinata nodded and said. So that's the case, I was wondering how Sasuke suddenly became so powerful. Black Zetsu said in a deep voice. I am worried that there are other forces involved in the matters of the shinobi world. Hinata, you have to be vigilant. If Mother's clansmen come to the shinobi world, it will be very disadvantageous to our plan. Hinata nodded and then asked, Black Zetsu, Indra's power has been suppressed. Will it have any effect on Sasuke? Don't worry. White Zetsu explained. Indra's chakra is originally in Sasuke's body, and the two forces are balancing each other. Just like Danzo, there won't be any problem. Okay. Hinata patted his chest. Then I am relieved. Black Zetsu looked at Hinata and said, Edo Tensei is a matter of great importance. Since you are going to the Sand Village, you must not let the Cloud Village gather all 4 Edo Tensei. Hinata nodded and said, I understand. If I appear in the Sand Village, the Cloud Village may not dare to act. Black Zetsu continued. I have already sensed the Sanbai's chakra, and the time of the Sanbai's resurrection is getting closer and closer, so don't do anything in the near future. The more you do, the more you will be exposed. Hinata, you have been suspected by Shinobu. Speaking of this topic, Hinata was a little depressed. I know, but I just can't figure out where I am exposed. Black Zetsu glanced at Hinata and said faintly, You are exposed because of your strength. There are many things that only you have the ability to do. Hinata understood. There is a saying that if you eliminate all the impossibilities, the remaining one, no matter how incredible, can only be the truth. Except for the matter of Sasuke and Orochimaru, there is nothing in the shinobi world that Black Zetsu cares about. After exchanging a few pieces of information, Black Zetsu said goodbye, and White Zetsu slowly sank into the ground with Black Zetsu and left. Ah! Hinata stretched and finally breathed a sigh of relief. When Black Zetsu mentioned Orochimaru before, Hinata was really a little guilty, and when Black Zetsu mentioned Sasuke again, Hinata didn't know how to deal with it. I don't know if Black Zetsu noticed anything. Hinata frowned. At this point, Hinata can only hope that his acting skills can win an Oscar. If Black Zetsu notices his little trick, he is afraid that it will affect the next cooperation. However, after hearing Black Zetsu's words, Hinata also felt that it is useless to weaken the power of the 5 great shinobi villages. Unless they can kill a Kage-level powerhouse, even if a few jonins die, it doesn't matter to the 5 great shinobi villages, and it won't affect Akatsuki's plan. Chapter 425. Although the plan to provoke the 5 great ninja villages was rejected by Black Zetsu, the evolution of the Hyuga family was still on the right track. The effect of the body honing Dan was very obvious. The first batch of Hyuga family ninjas who took the body honing Dan improved their strength to a certain extent. Compared to directly fusing cells, the absorption of vitality through the body's digestive system is gentler, and if it is supplemented with other herbs, there is basically no danger. After personally experiencing the effect of the body honing Dan, the first batch of 50 Hyuga family elites who took the body honing Dan were very excited, and couldn't wait to take the second batch immediately to improve their strength as soon as possible. No ninja can refuse the temptation of strength, because strength is the only measure of a ninja's value. In the past few days, the entire spirit of the Hyuga family has changed. Although the matter of the body honing Dan must be kept a secret, the 50 ninjas who took the body honing Dan were very motivated, and their daily training became more diligent. And as the provider of the body honing Dan, Hyogo's prestige in the family has reached its peak. Especially when Hyogo revealed the secret of the natural energy to the elders of the main family. Those elders almost went crazy. These elders of the main family have worked hard for the Hyuga family all their lives, but now they are old and weak, and are getting closer and closer to death. Although their hearts are unwilling, they can only surrender to time. But now, they see the hope of immortality. No one wants to die. Even ninjas who are accustomed to death and slaughter are afraid of death. When the secret of the natural energy was revealed to the upper echelons of the Hyuga family, Hyogo briefly introduced Hinata's plan and ambition. This is also the first time Hinata has revealed his ambition to the family, but under the temptation of immortality, everyone agreed to Hinata's plan. even if this plan will make the Hyuga family stand on the opposite side of the entire ninja world. And if they are not careful, they will be doomed eternally. But no matter how big the danger is, it can't be compared to the benefits that this matter can bring. Between the future of the Hyuga family and their own immortality, everyone chose the latter. Today, the Hyuga family had swept away their usual decadence. Everyone began to work hard on their cultivation, trying their best to increase their strength. Even if it was only a slight improvement, it was still a step closer to the qualifications to cultivate immortal techniques. Hinata's life didn't change much. Every day he ate, drank, slept, and played. Although there wasn't much passion in this kind of life, it was comfortable. In the small courtyard, Hinata was lying on a rocking chair with his right hand behind his head and his left hand on his belly. The rocking chair rocked back and forth. Half asleep and half awake, Hinata seemed to have had a beautiful dream. So comfortable. Arg. After stretching, Hinata squinted his eyes and sat up. He looked around and then fell back into the rocking chair. Just as he was about to close his eyes again, an annoying voice suddenly sounded. Is Lord Hinata awake? Hinata Takuma appeared in an instant, and half knelt in front of Hinata with a look of loyalty and no regrets. This guy was also among the 50 people who took the pill. Ever since he saw the effect of the body-honing pill, Hinata Takuma was even more obsequious than before. Whenever he had nothing to do, he would come to Hinata and ask about his well-being. Recently, he even learned how to cook from Hinata, and was prepared to use delicious food to buy Hinata's stomach. Takuma. Hinata rolled his eyes at Hinata Takuma. He didn't know why, but Hinata felt that this guy was trying to seduce him and had bad intentions towards him. Wasn't there a saying that if you want to capture a woman's heart, you have to capture a woman's stomach? What do you want? Hinata asked coldly. Hinata Takuma asked politely, Lord Hinata, what would you like to eat tonight? This lackey is hopeless facepalm. However, although Hinata despised Hinata Takuma's character, he was still happy to see Hinata Takuma's behavior. Aha. Hinata thought seriously, and then said a lot of names of delicious food. After Hinata Takuma accepted the order, he eagerly went to prepare the dishes for Hinata. Looking at Hinata Takuma's back, Hinata shook his head slightly. Hinata Takuma's thoughts were obvious. This guy relied on his relationship with Hinata, and ran to Hinata's place all day long. Wasn't he hoping that Hinata would give him special treatment? It was said that Hinata Takuma was very prestigious in the Branch family, because he had been Hinata's bodyguard for a period of time. Especially recently, Hinata Takuma's lackey had taken in a few underlings. Hinata couldn't believe it. In fact, Hinata was also very concerned about this lackey of his. These 2 days he carefully organized some of his knowledge about natural energy, and prepared to give it to Hinata Takuma as a birthday gift. As for how far Hinata Takuma could go, it would depend on his own efforts. Under Hinata's leadership, the entire Hyuga family was moving towards a higher goal. Even those who didn't know anything were influenced by this atmosphere and worked harder than usual. Hinata was very satisfied. As long as he could bring the Hyuga family into the universe, he wouldn't be lonely in the future. The changes in the Hyuga family couldn't escape the eyes of the villagers. But so what? As long as the village didn't have the power to resist Hinata, no one would dare to do anything to the Hyuga family. No matter what the Hyuga family was planning, the village could only turn a blind eye to it. They couldn't send anyone to investigate, because the results of the investigation were not something the village could bear. Naruto's office. Tsunade stood by the window and stared into the distance. His brows were tightly furrowed, and he couldn't relax for a long time. Although Shinobu wasn't facing any internal or external problems, the Hyuga family was obviously not as well behaved as it was a year ago. Especially recently, the Hyuga family seemed to have made some kind of decision. The members of the family were no longer as lazy as they used to be. Instead, they were training very hard. Tsunade really wanted to know what happened to the Hyuga family. However, the Hyuga family was special and Tsunade couldn't keep an eye on the Hyuga family. I have to make a decision. Tsunade knew very well that if he still didn't do anything, the village would only suffer more in the end. Jinin, do you think I'm doing the right thing? Jinin said firmly, Tsunade-sama, Now that things have come to this, we have to at least get some information and determine the goal of the Hyuga clan. If we don't know anything and continue to be suspicious of the Hyuga family, it will only widen the rift between us until it can no longer be repaired. Tsunade sighed softly and said helplessly, "All right. Let Shikamaru and the others leave on June 15th. Hinata will also go with them. Without Hinata, the Hyuga clan may expose some secrets." Chapter 426. Today's Hyuga clan is no longer just Hinata's problem. The entire Hyuga clan's high-level members have been acting mysterious recently. Everyone has an expression of, "I know a big secret, but I can't tell you." Hinata, who used to hate cultivation the most, has been silently working hard for nearly a year. Originally, this was nothing. At most, she grew up, became sensible, and suddenly liked cultivation. A girl changes 18 times between childhood and womanhood. This can completely explain Hinata's sudden change. However, the situation today is that the entire Hyuga clan is working hard to cultivate. Those who have already reached the end of the ninja path, as well as those who are already old and weak, all of them seem to have fallen in love with cultivation all of a sudden, even fanatical. People with discerning eyes can see that the change in the atmosphere of the Hyuga family is not that someone is forcing them, but that they want to make a breakthrough in strength from the bottom of their hearts. This is obviously not normal. Take Kakashi for example. Today's Kakashi has reached the peak in physical fitness. Unless he encounters a fortuitous encounter, otherwise, no matter how hard Kakashi works, his physical fitness can't continue to improve. And as he gets older and older, Kakashi's body will gradually deteriorate, and all aspects of his physical fitness will decline. If Kakashi wants to improve his strength, he can only make a breakthrough in Jutsu. Akai practices hard every day, but if there is no Hashiman Tonku, Akai is at most a Jounin. He can't even beat Ghost Mackerel's face-shifting jutsu. The Hyuga family is a ninja family of taijutsu. Generally speaking, the peak strength of a Hyuga family ninja is at the age of 30. After the age of 40, the strength of a Hyuga family ninja will gradually begin to decline. At Hyogo's age, he only needs to do daily cultivation every day to maintain his state. Because no matter how much the level of gentle fist advances, physical fitness is a barrier that limits the progress of taijutsu-type ninja. But today, everyone in the Hyuga clan is working hard to cultivate. Although the younger generation of the clan doesn't know anything, they are also working hard under the leadership of the older generation of the clan. One Akai in the village is enough, but today's Hyuga family is Akai. In this case, even if Tsunade doesn't want to suspect the Hyuga family, he has to focus on the Hyuga family. If there is no reason for the change in the Hyuga family, even a fool wouldn't believe it. The joint Chunin exam is a perfect opportunity to investigate the secrets of the Hyuga family. Shikamaru has invited Hinata to accompany him to go to the Sand Village. Without Hinata, the Haya family's defense will be greatly reduced. Tsunade-sama. In Koen. Kaji Hyuga, Haya clan's Hyuga clan. Tsunade heard this and said angrily, "Humph. If I knew, I wouldn't be so worried now." After a moment of silence, Tsunade said in a dignified tone, "If my guess is correct, the change of the Hyuga clan may be related to Senjutsu." Senjutsu? Jinin heard this and was taken aback. After following Tsunade for so long, Jinin certainly knows what the word Senjutsu means. What's more, with Hinata's popularity in the ninja world, the Sage Mode has long been no secret. Tsunade-sama, what does this have to do with Senjutsu? The requirements for practicing Sage Mode are so high, even you. Tsunade shook his head with a dignified expression. Of course, her doubts are not groundless. According to Jiraiya, Hinata has already practiced Sage Mode, and it's better than Senju Hashirama. Hinata can use Senjutsu chakra in a normal state, and his body's recovery is not inferior to Senju Hashirama's. If there is a power in the ninja world that can make the strength of the entire Hyuga clan go further, then it can only be Sage Mode. Maybe Hinata has studied something. Eliminating all the impossibilities, the remaining one, no matter how bizarre, can only be the truth of the matter. Jinin saw Tsunade's dignified expression and said with a complicated tone, Tsunade-sama, if the Hyuga clan is just trying to improve their strength, it may not be a bad thing for Shinobu. Tsunade looked out of the window and said nothing. It's certainly not a bad thing for a ninja clan in a village to suddenly become strong. But if they become too strong, it's not a good thing. Ambition and desire are often proportional to strength. The stronger the person, the more scenery they see, and the greater the ambition in their heart. Thinking of the secrets of the Hagoromo family, thinking of so many things related to Hinata, Tsunade absolutely doesn't believe that the Hyuga clan can be as quiet as before. Jinin, I know you have a good relationship with Hinata. But now many facts tell us that the current Hinata is no longer the simple and ignorant Hinata of the past. She has changed. Jinin heard this and her heart twitched inexplicably. Thinking of the former Hinata, Jinin couldn't associate Hinata with the word schemer. Jinin no longer spoke. Now, everything can only be proved by evidence. July, I hope to pass safely. Year 62 of Shinobu, the end of May. As a noble of the Land of Fire, Hyogo left Shinobu with several family guards, and went to the capital of the Land of Fire to visit old family friends. The Hyuga family has a lot of business in the ninja world, and doing business requires connections, so maintaining the family's connections has become a must for the patriarch. Originally, maintaining the family's connections was also Hinata's business, but now that Hinata has set her eyes on the Sea of Stars, naturally, she was too lazy to care about these mundane things. In the woods, 5 figures quickly passed through. Stop! Hyogo shouted, and his whole body fell to the ground, and his eyes instantly opened, and Byakugan instantly opened. In the black and white world, with Hyogo as the center, there was no one within a radius of 5 miles. Hayashi-sama. A branch family jonin walked to Hyogo's side and said in a low voice, "There are many tracking techniques in the village, we have to be careful." Yes. Hyogo nodded slightly. In such a forest, even an inconspicuous little insect may be the enemy's spy. The Yamanaka clan, Aburame clan, and Inazuka clan are all experts in reconnaissance, especially the Yamanaka and Aburame clan's secret techniques. It's simply impossible to guard against. You guys continue to move forward, Hyogo ordered. Lurk near the capital of the Land of Fire, I will catch up with you soon. Yes. After receiving the order, the 4 jonins jumped on the trunk and continued to run in the direction of the Land of Fire. Hyogo closed his eyes for a moment. Rinnegan. The insight of the Rinnegan is almost no weaker than the Byakugan. Pain's Rinnegan can even see through Shinobu's perception barrier, which is something that Sharingan and ordinary Byakugan can't do. Chapter 427. Sure enough, in the field of vision of Rinnegan, Hyogo clearly saw several small animals with abnormal behavior. Although there was no reaction from chakra, it always hovered near Hyogo. Humph! Repulsive force was launched. The surging invisible repulsive force was like a tsunami, with Hyogo as the center. It began to spread to the surrounding. Rumble. Almost in the blink of an eye, everything within a radius of 100 meters was pushed away by the repulsive force, forming a circular hill 100 meters away. Hyogo stood in the center of the open space. His pair of Rinnegan vigilantly looked around, not letting any nearby life go. Even if it was a weak insect, Hayashi would carefully observe it for a long time. After a long time, Hyogo slowly breathed a sigh of relief. The Umbu people are really getting better and better. Hyogo snorted lightly, quickly ran a few steps forward, then jumped on the tree, and ran toward the agreed place with Orochimaru. Somewhere in a valley in the Land of Fire, Orochimaru in a beige kimono stood quietly, a pair of snake eyes looking at the entrance of the valley. A gloomy light flashed in his eyes from time to time. Uncle Snake, father will be here soon, remember, don't tell him how I contact you. Seeing that Hyogo was about to arrive at the agreed place, Hinata was very worried and said, "Well, I will listen to you, don't play tricks." Far away in Shinobu's Hyuga mansion, Hinata was lying on the bed at the moment, his 2 feet swinging back and forth, while looking at the script and talking to Orochimaru remotely. Hinata has never concealed the matter of the artificial satellite from Hyogo. The telescope lens used to make the artificial satellite was bought by Hyogo for Hinata. The reason why Hinata asked Orochimaru to keep it a secret was actually Hyogo's idea. Although Hinata didn't think that this kind of probing was useful, since Hyogo had given him the task, Hinata would naturally carry it out meticulously. Oh, Orochimaru smiled playfully, licked his lips with his tongue, and said in a hoarse voice, "I got it." Uh-huh. Hinata cleared his throat and said seriously, "Uncle Snake, what do you think father wants to talk to you about?" Orochimaru said leisurely, "How could I know something that even you don't know?" Hinata snorted. "Take a guess." Orochimaru. Orochimaru was just about to say something when Hinata's soft voice rang out in Orochimaru's mind. "Coming." At the entrance of the valley, a white figure appeared in an instant. "Orochimaru, Hyogo." Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and stared at Hyogo with a pair of snake eyes, and his murderous aura spread wildly towards Hyogo. Orochimaru didn't want to give Hyogo a show of strength, but when he saw Hyogo for the first time, he was keenly aware of the difference in Hyogo's body. Orochimaru and Hyogo can be regarded as old acquaintances. Hyogo was famous during the Second World War. At that time, he was about the same age as Hinata, and he was at the age of Chinibu who worshipped the strong. During the Third Shinobi World War, Hyuga Hayashi also served under Orochimaru. Orochimaru also knew about Hyogo. Just like Itachi Uchiha's evaluation of Hinata, Orochimaru's evaluation of Hyogo was only 4 words. Limited potential. However, today's Hyogo was completely different from the past, and the confidence that came from the heart was enough to explain Hyogo's confidence. Normally speaking, even if Hyogo used his father's power, but when facing one of the Sannin, Orochimaru, he still had the necessary vigilance and caution. After all, Hinata wasn't by Hyogo's side at the moment, and Hyogo had to guard against Orochimaru's sneak attack. But now Hyogo didn't have the slightest sense of urgency. Instead, he looked down at Orochimaru with a condescending attitude. Orochimaru had seen this kind of look before, and it left a very deep impression on him. Pain. Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke, Hinata. When these people looked at Orochimaru, they all had this kind of look in their eyes. Temperament and demeanor can deceive people, but the look in their eyes can't. This is a kind of look that doesn't put the other party in his eyes at all, and it comes from the heart. Hyogo walked slowly to Orochimaru and said calmly, "Orochimaru, long time no see." "Ha ha ha ha," Orochi chuckled and said indifferently, "I've been with Hinata for a long time, and I've almost forgotten this way of greeting people." In the adult world, there's always this kind of hypocritical greeting. Although he was just threatened by Hinata, Orochimaru felt more comfortable getting along with Hinata. Hyogo's expression didn't change. He looked around a few times and said with a meaningful tone, "Orochimaru, 100 portions of secret medicine per month is too little. With your ability, you should be able to do more than this." Orochimaru didn't comment. As long as he was willing to spend time, Orochimaru could come up with more secret medicine. "But then what can I get?" Orochimaru looked at Hyogo with playful eyes. "Hyogo, what conditions can you come up with?" Perhaps Hyogo's strength has improved, but what Orochimaru values is not something that ordinary ninjas can provide. "Orochimaru, we have known each other for decades," Hyogo said lightly. "Those things about you can't hide from the Byakugan." Orochimaru's expression suddenly changed, and he looked deeply at Hyogo. Listening to the meaning of this, Hyogo said, "Orochimaru, as early as when you were still in Shinobu, I knew what kind of person you are." Orochimaru didn't comment. "Don't say it as if you know me very well." Hyogo glanced at Orochimaru. "Orochimaru, what you really want should be information. As long as you have enough information with your talent, it's enough to deduce the truth." "That Byakugan." Speaking of this, Hyogo looked at Orochimaru. His white pupils quickly spread around, and his eyes turned blue, full of circular lines. "Rinnegan?" Orochimaru's face changed dramatically in an instant. "When did Hyuga Hayashi open the Rinnegan?" "You are Akatsuki's." "No. You." It seems that the final evolution direction of Byakugan is the same as Sharingan Rinnegan. Orochimaru frowned and asked in his heart, "Hinata, what's going on with your eyes?" Hinata lazily replied, "I don't know, it's natural evolution." Chapter 428. Natural Evolution? How could Orochimaru believe such nonsense? From the information obtained by Orochimaru, there should be 3 pairs of Rinnegan in the current shinobi world. Organization's leader, Hyogo, and Hinata. Among these 3, Akatsuki leader's Rinnegan should have evolved from Sharingan, and Hyogo's Rinnegan should have evolved from Byakugan. As for the pair of Rinnegan in Hinata's hand, obviously, Hinata didn't put Rinnegan in his eyes, and even used Rinnegan as a bargaining chip to make a deal with Orochimaru. However, what Orochimaru couldn't figure out the origin of this eye. Maybe it's an eye from a long time ago. Thinking of this, Orochimaru looked at Hyogo again. Information. Orochimaru's hoarse voice was slightly interested. The Byakugan can evolve into Rinnegan. This is indeed shocking information. But that's it. For Orochimaru, although information is important, it is far less important than the real bloodline. Compared to the method of evolving Byakugan, Orochimaru wants a Hyuga clan's body without a caged bird. Hyogo glanced at Orochimaru and said calmly, Orochimaru, the eye that Hinata gave you, you should have already studied it, right? Without waiting for Orochimaru to answer, Hyogo said, although the Byakugan has evolved into Rinnegan, it always remains in the state of Byakugan before the eye is dug out. If you want to let the Byakugan evolve into Rinnegan again, it must be activated with the power of Yin-Yang release. Orochimaru looked at Hyogo quietly, waiting for him to continue. Hinata had already told him how to activate the Rinnegan, and Orochimaru also knew how to do it. But so what? Orochimaru's mastery of Yin-Yang release has not reached the level of activating Rinnegan. Hyogo continued, in addition to the Yin-Yang escape, there is another way to activate the Rinnegan. Speaking of this, Hayashi looked at Orochimaru with deep eyes. Fuse with the cells of the Rinnegan. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. Main body. It's not that Orochimaru didn't think of this method, but Hinata didn't tell him the origin of the Rinnegan. If Hinata didn't say anything, so that was how it was. Orochimaru's snake eyes flashed with a dangerous light. So this is what you're talking about. Orochimaru understood that as long as he gets the cells of the Rinnegan, he may be able to make the Byakugan evolve into the Rinnegan again. Orochimaru has already seen the power of the Rinnegan. But because of this, Orochimaru was unwilling to give up. He didn't want to transplant the Rinnegan, he wanted to seize the body of Hyuga or Uchiha, and then rely on his own strength to open the Rinnegan. What I want is more than just an eye. Orochimaru said calmly, Hayashi. A branch family, without a caged bird. After a moment of consideration, Orochimaru continued, I can provide 500 portions of secret medicine to the Hyuga family every month. 500 portions of secret medicine. Hyogo's eyes flashed with a trace of shock. 500 portions of secret medicine is enough to cultivate more than 200 elites of the Hyuga family at the same time. This is far beyond the limit in Hyogo's heart. In Hyogo's view, providing 200 portions of secret medicine to the Hyuga family every month is already the limit that Orochimaru can agree to. In the previous month, the first batch of 50 people of the Hyuga family who took the medicine had a huge improvement. As long as they continue to take the medicine, these 50 people will reach the level of cultivation sooner or later. Once these people master the Senjutsu chakra, they can control natural energy and let Hinata seal them with the Yin and Yang seal, and store natural energy in the sealed space. Then these people of the Hyuga family are equivalent to being in the cultivation environment of the 3 holy lands all the time. The only difference is that one is inside, and one is outside. Originally, Hyogo was already very satisfied with the increase from 100 to 200 a month. But now, Hyogo hasn't even mentioned the conditions, and Orochimaru has already offered a very high price. From this, it can be seen that Orochimaru's desire for the Byakugan has almost reached a morbid level. After all, Hinata, the spokesperson of the Byakugan, is very responsible. Hyogo said calmly, Orochimaru, do you know the conditions for opening the Rinnegan? Oh, Orochimaru was slightly surprised, but thinking that Hyogo is Hinata's father, he explained his speculation about the Sharingan. The evolution of the Sharingan is like this. As for the Byakugan, Orochimaru looked at Hyogo, indicating that Hyogo can speak. The Byakugan has two directions of evolution, Tensigan and Rinnegan. Hyogo said lightly. Orochimaru, you should have seen Hinata's eyes. Orochimaru nodded slightly, while secretly paying attention to Hyogo's expression, analyzing whether Hyogo is telling the truth. Although the direction of evolution is different, there are some similarities. Hyogo said slowly, the evolution of the Byakugan requires the assistance of external forces. External forces? Orochimaru wondered. What external forces? Hyogo said lightly, the origin of the tailed beast's chakra. The 9-tailed beasts were created by the sage of the 6 paths. He pulled out the chakra of the 10-tailed tree, and then used the power of yin-yang release to give chakra a sense of self and consciousness. The tailed beasts were born. If you want the Byakugan to evolve, you must have the origin of the chakra of the 10-tailed tree, which is the chakra before the creation of the tailed beasts. Orochimaru was a little surprised. If so, how did the eyes of Hinata and Hyogo evolve? Then you and Hinata's eyes, Orochimaru asked. Hyogo explained. This is a gift from the ancestors. Orochimaru nodded slightly. Hinata once met with the ancestor of the Hyuga clan, Otsutsuki Hamura, and Black Zetsu did not hide this matter. In this way, Hinata's abnormal strength was also explained. Hyogo continued. Orochimaru, without the origin of the 10-tailed tree, even if you were reincarnated into the body of the Hyuga clan, you can't evolve the Byakugan. Now that the 10-tailed chakra has been divided into 9 and has been given life by the sage of the 6 paths, it is no longer possible to evolve the Byakugan. Hinata. For the first time, Hinata felt that Hyogo was quite good at fooling people. According to Hyogo, the Byakugan's evolution path has been broken, and Orochimaru wants to reincarnate into a body of the Hyuga clan without the caged bird. It is just a waste. Following Hyogo's words, Hinata put forward a conspiracy theory with bad intentions. By the way, did the sage of the 6 paths divide the tailed beasts to guard against the Hyuga family? This bad old man, he has a bad conscience. That's right. That is the truth. Otherwise, what is the use of the tailed beasts other than bringing disaster? Hinata. Now there is one more reason to beat up the sage of the 6 paths. Chapter 429. Hyogo's meaning was very clear. The Byakugan's evolution path has been broken. Even if Orochimaru reincarnated into the body of the Hyuga clan, Orochimaru can't make the Byakugan evolve. Instead of trying to plan the body of the Hyuga clan, it's better to activate the Byakugan. Orochimaru looked at Hyogo gloomily, wondering how credible Hyogo's words were. Unlike the evolution of the Sharingan, Orochimaru has been studying the Sharingan for nearly 10 years, and he has a deep understanding of the evolution of the Sharingan. Before the rise of Hinata, the Byakugan of the Hyuga family was nothing in Orochimaru's eyes. It wasn't until Sasuke escaped that Orochimaru focused on the Byakugan. In fact, from a certain point of view, what Hyogo said about the evolution of the Byakugan is somewhat credible. Let the Byakugan absorb the original chakra of the 10-tailed sacred tree and evolve into the Rinnegan. The reason why Hyogo and Hinata's eyes can evolve is entirely because of the legacy of the ancestors. Although it can be explained. But Orochimaru's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was always some doubt in his heart. Moreover, as a rigorous scientist, Orochimaru has always wanted a perfect body, instead of gaining power through transplants. Seeing Orochimaru's silence, Hyogo continued. Orochimaru, the eye that Hinata gave you, you should have studied it, right? Ha 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 ha. Orochimaru chuckled, mentioning the Byakugan. Orochimaru's interest was suddenly aroused. That is indeed a good eye, but unfortunately, without enough yin and yang power, I can't open the Rinnegan. Urashi's eye is different from the eye that Uchiha gave to Nagato. Before Urashi's eye was dug out, his power was sealed, so the eye that was dug out has been in the form of the Byakugan. However, Urashi's Byakugan has evolved after all. As long as he absorbs enough yin and yang power, he can activate the Rinnegan again. If you have the cells of the eye itself with your talent, you might be able to cultivate a perfect body. Hyogo said. Orochimaru, I will provide you with the cells of the Byakugan body, and you help me refine the secret medicine. How about it? It has to be said that Hyuga Hayashi's words have touched Orochimaru's heart. Orochimaru wants a perfect body. If he can't get it through other means, why not cultivate it himself through cloning technology? If he can't get the power of the organizations, if he can't get the power before then. Orochimaru's mind raced. Good. Orochimaru's hoarse voice was playful. Hyogo, as you said, you provide the cells of the Byakugan body, and I help you refine the secret medicine. 500 per month. Enough for the whole Hyuga clan. Hyogo was also excited when he heard this. The Hyuga clan, which has been passed down for 1,000 years, has always been neither high nor low in the ninja world. Although they can protect themselves, they are not aggressive enough. Until this generation, until Hyogo became the patriarch of the Hyuga clan, the Hyuga family finally ushered in the opportunity to take off. As for Hinata's contribution in this, Hyogo decisively chose to ignore it. If there was no Hyogo, where would Hinata come from? If he shot it on the wall, cough. Hyogo still has to visit the Hyuga family in the capital of the Land of Fire. After discussing the details of the deal with Orochimaru, Hyogo left the valley. Uncle Orochi, what are you going to do? As soon as Hyogo left, Hinata couldn't wait to ask. Are you going to clone a new body with the cells? Or transplant the cells to another body? Orochimaru's eyes moved slightly, and his expression was indifferent. Although Hayashi said it nicely, I'm afraid only you can do it. Hinata. Hinata felt that in front of outsiders, he still has to give some face to Hyogo. Father can also do it. Orochimaru sneered. Hayashi is reluctant to use the Rinnegan to make a deal with me. Hinata disdainfully said. Ordinary Rinnegan is worthless, at least 6 Tomo Rinnegan is worth mentioning. 6 Tomo Rinnegan? Orochimaru was slightly excited. I didn't expect that the Rinnegan can be evolved. By the way, Uncle Orochi, Hinata suddenly had an inspiration. Have you tried to breed a baby with the cells of a man and a woman? For example, Uncle Orochi, you can first reincarnate into a woman's body, and then give birth to a child with my father. Cough. Cough. Hinata felt that the scene of Orochimaru and Hyogo making a baby together was too strange, so he quickly changed the topic. Or use Urushi's cells to breed a baby in the mother's body, and when the baby grows up, won't you have a perfect body? Orochimaru frowned slightly. Urushi? Hinata explained. Urushi is the owner of the 3rd pair of Rinnegan. Orochimaru tentatively asked. Did you kill that guy? Hinata shook his head again and again. I didn't do it, I can swear. Hinata said solemnly, and his little face was full of seriousness. Orochimaru couldn't help but believe a little. That's right, the person who killed Urushi was Otsutsuki Hinata. But what does it have to do with me, Hinata? Thinking of the method proposed by Hinata. Although having a baby with Hyogo, I, Orochimaru, will never give birth to a stinky man's child in my life. But if using a mother's body to breed a baby, it's not impossible. Karen, the girl with the bloodline of the Uzumaki clan, floated in Orochimaru's mind at the first time. Thinking of the red-haired little guy he subdued a year ago, Orochimaru secretly thought about the feasibility of breeding a baby with a mother's body. Although Karen's surname is not Uzumaki, that's because children in the ninja world follow their father's surname. But there is no doubt that Karen has the bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. The legendary long-lived clan. Orochimaru licked his lips excitedly. Although it takes a long time to breed a baby with a mother's body, it is the least likely to have accidents. Hinata, when extracting the cells of the guy named Urushi, remember, you must extract that position. Orochimaru considered his words. Simply put, he wants Hinata to castrate Urushi, and then take Urushi's penis and give it to Orochimaru. Absolutely not. Hinata shook his head desperately and sternly refused. It's too disgusting. I absolutely don't want to touch a man's penis. Orochimaru chuckled and teased. Hinata, you can ask Hayashi to do it. Didn't you say that Hayashi can also do it? Hinata. Gulp. Hinata swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Before, he felt that Urushi's body was very miserable, but now it seems that he, who wanted to cut off Urushi's body. He really lifted a stone and smashed his own foot. Chapter 430. Orochimaru isn't a person who likes to put all his eggs in one basket. Before this, although Orochimaru was trying his best to train Sasuke, he didn't leave no room for maneuver. Cloning technology, cell transplantation technology, and many other black technologies are what Orochimaru left for himself. Among the many test subjects of Orochimaru, there is a guy called Shin. Shin's body is very special, and it doesn't reject any cell or tissue transplanted into her body. It is said that Shimura Danzo's right arm full of Sharingan was originally Shin's right arm. Shin worships Itachi Uchiha very much, so she changed her surname to Uchiha, and called herself Uchiha Shin. However, although Shin's body is special, in the eyes of Orochimaru, Shin is just a test subject. The power obtained by transplanting cells is not as good as the real Kekkei Genkai. However, the power of the Rinnegan is not comparable to the Sharingan. In the legend of the ninja world, the Rinnegan is the eyes of the six-path sage, and the intelligence of Hinata and Black Zetsu also confirmed this. Orochimaru is a person who pursues perfection, so Orochimaru has always been wavering between the power of the six-path sage and the transplanted power. However, as Hinata said, the method of cultivating a perfect body through the mother opened a new door for Orochimaru. Giving birth is nothing more than the combination of essence and egg. Although Orochimaru is an old virgin, he has known Jiraiya for so long, and he knows some things about men and women. Orochimaru doesn't lack technology, and he also has a goal to cultivate the mother of the perfect body. As long as he gets the essence of the man, Orochimaru is sure to cultivate a perfect body. Thinking of this, Orochimaru's heart was very excited. Perhaps this method will take a long time, but it is the safest way. Cultivating a body from infancy, Orochimaru is sure to make this body the closest to the body of the six-path sage. At this moment, Hinata was full of cold. Orochimaru actually asked him to castrate Pusher's thing, not to mention touching it. Just looking at it, Hinata felt that he would have a corn's eyes. However, Orochimaru is right. This kind of thing can be done by Hyuga Hayashi. By the way, Hayashi can see the vastness of the universe with his own eyes and understand the insignificance of the shinobi world. Standing on the surface of the earth and standing outside the atmosphere to look at outer space were two completely different scenery to the eyes. Only can see the vastness of the universe with his own eyes, can't understand Hinata's ambition. Okay. Hinata didn't hesitate for long before nodding and agreeing to Orochimaru's request. Let's do as you say. Then goodbye, Uncle Snake. After hanging up the long-distance call with Orochimaru, Hinata sat cross-legged on the floor of the bedroom, recalling the conversation between Hyogo and Orochimaru in his mind. Cats. In the quiet room, only the sound of Hinata eating chips could be heard. In fact, from the task that Hyogo gave to Hinata, Hyogo wanted to test the sincerity of Orochimaru. Including the conversation between Hyogo and Orochimaru, it seems to have vaguely mentioned that there seems to be some discord between Hyogo and Hinata. He doesn't know whether Orochimaru saw through Hyogo's plan or not, but Orochimaru didn't have any intention of sowing discord from the beginning to the end. Orochimaru seems to only want to pursue strength and longevity. Hinata still has this little bit of analytical ability. After thinking about it, Hinata felt that Orochimaru probably didn't want to get involved in the internal affairs of the Hyuga family. He only wanted to have enough information and resources. If the Hyuga family can continue to cooperate with Orochimaru and get 500 bodybuilding pills every month, the strength of the Hyuga family will increase rapidly. Although the Hyuga family doesn't have that many Tokubetsu Jonins, when it comes to taking bodybuilding pills, the cycle of taking the pills twice will shorten as the number of pills increases. Humans are very adaptable. As long as they take bodybuilding pills a few times, they won't die even if red fang cells are transplanted. However, transplanting cells is a bad idea. Absorbing nutrients through the body's digestive system is the best way to evolve. Currently, only 50 members of the Hyuga family have taken bodybuilding pills, and only twice. For the past month, Hyogo has been giving these 50 members a physical examination every day. And the results of the physical examination show that the more times they take bodybuilding pills, the shorter the cycle of taking the pills twice. This means that the original plan of 3 years of cultivation will be greatly shortened. It might even be shortened to less than 1 year. Phew. Hinata slowly exhaled, the corner of his mouth raised slightly. The day when the Hyuga family completely surpasses Otsutsuki is getting closer and closer. And this is all thanks to me, Hinata. As long as Orochimaru doesn't have any problems. Thinking about Orochimaru, Hinata vaguely understood why Hyuga wanted to test Orochimaru. The evolution of the Hyuga family is a long-term strategy. In the early stages they rely on pills, and in the later stages, they rely on the sacred tree. But once Orochimaru quits, the evolution plan of the Hyuga family will be put on hold. But for now, as long as Hinata can still suppress Orochimaru, and as long as Orochimaru still has a demand for benefits from Hinata, Orochimaru will continue to provide bodybuilding pills to the Hyuga family. Okay, then that's it. Before closing the Tensigen, Hinata deliberately glanced at the Hyuga residence. There are many small courtyards in the Hyuga residence, and there are about 100 ninjas who are not on a mission. And among these 100 ninjas, except for Hinata, everyone is cultivating. To take bodybuilding pills, one must cultivate to absorb the medicinal power. It's like eating fish and meat. Some people are muscular, some people are fat, and some people are like Hinata, who doesn't get fat no matter how much they eat. If one doesn't cultivate after taking bodybuilding pills, the medicinal power will accumulate in the body, and over time, it will develop horizontally. Under the leadership of these family elites and elders, the Hyuga family suddenly set off a cultivation craze. The next step is to further improve my strength. For now, Hinata wants to greatly improve his strength is almost impossible. But as his body enters puberty, Hinata's speed of improvement seems to have returned to the state of when he was a child. Just by casually cultivating every day, he could feel that his strength was increasing rapidly. Hinata is satisfied with his current state, but at the same time, he is a little greedy. After all, human beings have always been greedy. Hinata also took bodybuilding pills, but it was useless. The medicinal power of bodybuilding pills will be digested in an instant, and it feels like eating candy. Hinata pondered for a long time. If he wants to continue to improve his strength, besides collecting the chakra of the bijou, there may be only one way. Chapter 431. In terms of strength, the current Hinata is not weaker than Naruto and Sasuke who have obtained the power of 6 paths, and he is even stronger than the two in terms of hardcore strength. However, a ninja's battle is not only based on hardware strength, but also software strength such as combat experience is extremely important. Today, in addition to the ability of Byakugan, Hinata has also integrated the ability of Mokuton and Shikatsu Myaku. However, there is a good saying, the first generation of Mokuton conquered the world, and the Yamato Mokuton made the world green. The same Kekkei Genkai will exert different power in different people. Hinata has also secretly tested the power of Mokuton and Shikatsu Myaku. Under the blessing of the Senjutsu chakra, the power of the technique is naturally very strong, but it is far from the level of the first generation, let alone the stronger mutual killing of the gray bones. If Hinata wants to continue to improve his strength, in addition to the accumulation of practice and integration of the tailed beast chakra, he can only work on these 2 Kekkei Genkai. Thanks to the talent sheet that he made before crossing over, Hinata not only perfectly integrated Mokuton and Shikatsu Myaku, but the potential of these 2 Kekkei Genkai is also greatly improved under the blessing of the talent sheet. From the perspective of Jutsu, Mokuton and Shikatsu Myaku are not of much help to me. It's not that Hinata looks down on Mokuton, but the Mokuton series of ninjutsu is not of much help to Hinata. Take the first generation's goal True Thousand Hands. Although it can beat Uchiha Madara and Nine Tails together, it looks very powerful. But Hinata's Gentle Fist can also do the same. Mokuton's ability to absorb chakra is also very powerful, but Hinata's Tensigen also has the ability to absorb chakra. Moves are not about quantity but about quality. In contrast, Shikatsu Myaku is even worse than Mokuton. If it weren't for the mutual killing of the gray bones, Hinata wouldn't even look at Shikatsu Miyaku. However, that being said, there was an invisible advantage after the fusion of wood release and corpse bone pulse. The wood element chakra could increase the vitality of the cells in the body, while the corpse bone pulse could increase the hardness of the bones. Simply put, the power of wood release and corpse bone meridian could improve a human's physical fitness. For taijutsu-type ninjas, physical fitness is the foundation of everything. The only thing that restricts taijutsu-type ninjas is their physical fitness. Even Kai Huang, who was said to have almost kicked out the grand finale with a single kick, couldn't even defeat dried persimmon mackerel without using the 8 inner hidden gates. But what should we do? Hinata recalled the novels he had read in his previous life, as well as some cultivation methods on the internet, trying to find inspiration from them. Cats. Seeing that the bag of chips was about to be finished, Hinata still hadn't found a way to quickly improve his wood release and corpse bone pulse power. Wood release. Did the wood element chakra undergo a qualitative change? Or, if it's wood release, I don't know if my body can carry out photosynthesis? As soon as he thought of it, Hinata ran to the small courtyard, took out a rocking chair and lay on it. The warm sun shone on his body, making him feel warm. Comfortable. He lay down for a while with his eyes closed. Next is to convert chakra into wood element chakra, and then spread it all over the body. When it comes to photosynthesis, Hinata wasn't being whimsical. Photosynthesis refers to the process of plants absorbing light energy, synthesizing carbon dioxide and water into energy-rich organic matter, and releasing oxygen at the same time. On the contrary, humans breathe oxygen and spit out carbon dioxide. The Otsutsuki family can travel freely in the universe, perhaps related to some ability of the Tree of God. Hinata, as a human, breathes oxygen and produces carbon dioxide. Photosynthesis is the process of converting carbon dioxide into oxygen. If wood release really has the ability of photosynthesis, then when Hinata enters the universe, at least oxygen can be self-sufficient. It's just that Hinata didn't feel any reaction about photosynthesis in his body, but his skin was slightly hot from the sun. Do I have to absorb the body of the Tree of God? After thinking for a while, Hinata decided to put wood release aside for the time being and study cadaveric bone pulse first. Cadaveric bone pulse is an ability to freely manipulate the bones of the whole body for defense or attack. As long as it has something to do with bones, such as osteogenic cells, osteoclast cells, calcium concentration, etc., it can be manipulated without limit to make bones form, decompose, or maintain hardening. However, what Hinata really cares about is not the bone itself, but the bone marrow inside the bone. Even if Hinata was a bad student in his previous life, Hinata also knows the importance of bone marrow to humans. Bone marrow has the function of hematopoiesis, and blood plays an important role in maintaining life. Blood transforms matter through flow with tissue fluid, provides tissue cells with oxygen and nutrients, and carries away carbon dioxide and metabolites. In Hinata's view, instead of using the power of cadaveric bone pulse for combat, it is better to use the power of cadaveric bone pulse to strengthen himself. Let's experiment with the pinky first. Hinata stretched out a pinky and condensed natural energy to crazily wash the joints of the pinky to see if natural energy can strengthen bones. After all, bones are an important part of the human body, and bone marrow is extremely important to humans. Hinata is little wingsy. As for the excess natural energy condensed, it is naturally stored in the yin-yang seal by Hinata, preparing to one day refine this natural energy into a nascent soul, tailed beast. After experimenting for a while, Hinata frowned slightly. Compared to the unreliable photosynthesis, strengthening bones seems to have a little effect, but the strengthening time is too short to see any effect for the time being. In fact, the natural energy in the yin-yang seal will imperceptibly affect Hinata's physique, and Hinata actively condensed natural energy to wash the bones. The effect is actually similar to the former. Hinata scratched his head. There seems to be a special connection between the several bloodline limits passed down from Otsutsuki Kagaya. Hinata has a faint hunch that if he can find the connection between these abilities, he may be able to crack the secret of life evolution. Sharingan, Byakugan, Rinnegan, Tensegan, Mokuton, Life Force, Sunnin, Cadaveric, Bone Pulse. These bloodline limits were all separated from Otsutsuki Kagaya, passed down from generation to generation, and their abilities have also changed. The physique of the Hyuga clan is somewhat different from the physique of ordinary people. The ninjas of the Hyuga clan can release chakra from all the acupoints of the body, but ordinary ninjas can't do it. These bloodline limits that act on the human body are actually different from the bloodline limits such as Hayaton and Magneton. Sacred Tree. Hinata has previously mentioned that the sacred tree is related to the evolution of life, and natural energy is the nutrient of the sacred tree. The three holy lands rely on a huge amount of natural energy to maintain immortality. What is the connection between these abilities and energy? It's like Chapter 432. The human body is like a sophisticated machine. Energy, power devices, various functional parts, and so on, can be found in the human body. The difference between human beings and machines is only biological and physical. Hinata had speculated before that no matter how high Kagaya's life level is, if she wants to live forever, she must have the energy to maintain life. After the fusion with the sacred tree, natural energy has been used as nutrients to maintain Kagaya's life. The human heart is a power device, blood vessels are like wires, and other organs have their own functions. Then the bones and muscles that make up the human body are materials. No matter how expensive a machine is, it has a lifespan. Of course, humans also have a lifespan limit. So to prolong life, what is needed is not high-level energy, but to maintain the materials and parts that make up the human body. Hinata felt that he had already thought of the key. Vitality, bones, spiritual power. The abilities inherited by Otsutsuki Kagaya are not so much Kekkei Genkai, but rather several classifications of life evolution. Hinata felt that his previous idea was correct. The bone marrow with hematopoietic cells may be the beginning of life evolution. When more powerful blood begins to flow in the body, human beings will naturally begin to evolve. Unlike the direct fusion with the sacred tree, Hinata's various abilities are plunder, transplant. Only with the blessing of the talent, Hinata can absorb and integrate these abilities, so that he can reach the state of Kagaya's fusion with the sacred tree. Hinata wants to cultivate himself as a sacred tree, so he must figure out the relationship between the various organs and tissues of the human body, including the issue of the order of evolution. Unlike plants like the sacred tree, the human body is more sophisticated than plants, and evolution is more difficult. Touching the position of the lower abdomen, where the yin-yang seal is located. In the past few days, Hinata has condensed a large amount of natural energy into the space of the yin-yang seal. The natural energy, which was originally invisible to the naked eye, is now almost atomized. The yin-yang seal is equivalent to a small three holy land, which affects Hinata's physique all the time. However, there is still a difference between passive evolution and active evolution. Otherwise, those in the three holy land who have lived for hundreds or even thousands of years would have surpassed Kagaya's strength. What about the eyes? As a perceptual organ, the nose, mouth, and ears have not evolved. Why are the eyes? Maybe it's because he's handsome. Hinata quickly gave up on the question of why only the eyes could evolve. Instead, he began to think about the ability of the eyes. If the Byakugan's ability is similar to satellites and radars, then the Sharingan's ability is more about learning and analyzing. Yes. Hinata rubbed his chin with both hands as his little head nodded. He felt that he had figured out some key points. Active evolution, starting from the bones and marrow, and then changing all the cells in the body through the blood flow. Tensegan. After connecting to the satellite, Hinata immediately contacted Orochimaru. Uncle Snake, I'm Hinata. Please answer me if you hear me. Please reply if you hear me. Orochimaru. What is it? Orochimaru frowned slightly. It hadn't even been an hour. Why was Hinata here again? Uncle Snake, can you give me a copy of Red Fang's research? Hinata said cheekily. And if possible, can you help me study a person? Orochimaru's interest was immediately piqued. Study a person? Could it be that this person is the owner of the Rinnegan? Alright. Orochimaru agreed without hesitation. Hinata immediately became vigilant. Why is Orochimaru so easy to talk to today? This is obviously different from the usual Orochimaru. Uncle Snake, you don't have any conspiracy, do you? Orochimaru. F***ck. Hinata didn't care much and quickly forgot about it. He said casually, okay, it's a deal. I'll contact you when the time comes. Anyway, Hinata has the satellite, so he can monitor Orochimaru all the time. He's not afraid of Orochimaru playing tricks on him. Maybe he can find the secret of life evolution from Pusher's body. But before that, omniscient and omnipotent, Hinata instantly appeared beside Orochimaru. Hey, Uncle Snake, Orochimaru said with a gloomy face. What are you doing here? Hinata said with a matter-of-fact look. I'm here to get Red Fang's information. Uncle Snake, you just promised me, you won't go back on your word so soon, right? Hinata's eyes were a little suspicious. Humph. Orochimaru took out a thick stack of information from the cabinet on the side of the laboratory and handed it to Hinata. This is Red Fang's research information. Glancing at Hinata, Orochimaru reminded him. Snakes are different from humans. Its body has no reference value. Orochimaru saw Hinata's thoughts at a glance. Hinata is walking the path of life evolution, so he's naturally interested in Red Fang, who is also a life evolution. Hinata roughly flipped through a few times, and then closed the research information. There's really no reference value. Hinata has been studying medicine for nearly a year. Maybe he can't do research, but he can still understand the information. Uncle Snake, you do your thing, don't worry about me, I'll just walk around here. Orochimaru. After thinking about it, Orochimaru felt that even if he didn't want to, he couldn't stop Hinata, so he didn't care much and continued to busy himself with his experiments. Orochimaru was indeed very interested in Hinata's previous proposal. Through pregnancy, cultivate a perfect body, then raise the child, and finally take over the child's body. Orochimaru's ability to execute is very strong. He has already started to do all kinds of data. Hinata looked at it for a while and lost interest. Hinata left the laboratory and strolled around Orochimaru's secret base. Apothecary's pocket isn't here. Ever since Hinata contacted Orochimaru, Orochimaru would avoid everyone when doing things. Even Apothecary's pocket lost Orochimaru's trust. In fact, if it weren't for the fact that his hands were injured, Orochimaru wouldn't have trusted Apothecary's pocket as much as he did in the original work. Orochimaru has always been a selfish person. This secret base isn't big, but it has a lot of things. It has all kinds of experimental equipment. Experiments. For the Hyuga family in Shinobu, no matter what kind of experiment they do, it will eventually cause the village's higher-ups to be wary. Cooperating with Orochimaru is indeed very beneficial for the Hyuga family. Hinata was also thinking, originally he only planned to give Orochimaru a few paratype cells, but if Hinata wants to complete self-evolution, he must unravel the laws of life evolution. It might be a little troublesome to let Orochimaru decipher the laws of life evolution. But Hinata is very confident in his own strength. Unless Orochimaru becomes the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, it will be impossible for him to surpass him. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.